Welcome to the Mind of the Meanie, your weekly peek into the world according to former WWE and ECW wrestler, the Blue Meanie. We will cover wrestling, music, movies, sports, and lots of useless knowledge, all contained in the Mind of the Meanie. I'm Josh Shernoff, and he is the Blue Meanie. Meanie, what is going on today, man?
It is day 1000 of the apocalypse. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something witty to kick the show off with, but yeah, man, surviving. Yeah, I'm like good times, just living and surviving.
We are deep into the apocalypse these days, as you like to say.
Before we came on the air here, I was talking about, you get bored in the apocalypse, and I know we put out this T-shirt. I know we did an episode where I said I hate mustaches, which I do. And but I got into apocalypse and all this. So I grew an apocalypse mustache. So
yeah,
just because I hate the apocalypse, I'm going to grow something I hate. And so if anybody answers, I'm going to be like, hey man, listen to the first couple minutes of the latest episode of, and I explain it. Well, that way I don't have to type it out.
Yeah, so we've got the shirt, I hate mustaches, and the beauty of that shirt is you can wear it ironically. So you can walk around with your mustache with a picture of yourself with a mustache saying I hate mustaches, and kids love irony these days, right?
Oh yeah. That's what the millennials,
Yeah, those millennials. I'm apparently a millennial, and I don't know how I feel about that. Right. But I have an issue with all of those. There's, your Gen Xers and I guess there's Generation Y came afterwards. And then there's the millennials are like part Generation Y, part like whatever. But I never understood how. So I was born in 1983. I grew up with, I wasn't my choice.
This is our weekly thing, folks. I don't think he's an asshole.
No, Meanie, he gets a little bit hot sometimes because he was born in 63. But
motherfucker,
I'm going based purely off of our video chat and appearances. Now, we're getting more comfortable now. I can just shoot right back.
No, I don't care.
This is why we do.
I don't give a fuck.
Wipe those tears, Meanie. This is why we're going to continue to do this remotely.
I'm going to interrupt for one second. I'm sorry.
Please.
I don't care what anybody says to me. It's all about intent,
Right.
Like, I have friends who have carte blanche to say whatever the fuck they want me. I know they're saying it with love and stuff, so if you shoot back, I don't give a fuck. I know we're just breaking balls. Yeah. It's just that random asshole on Twitter who you say something to go, and you're like, block.
Yeah.
You don't know me. We're not cool where you could say that. Like, now, if my buddy Donnie said it, I'd be like, oh, fuck, yeah, that's fucking hilarious.
Well, that's,
you fat piece of shit. Don, you crack me up.
Donnie's going to try it next time. Now that he's hearing this, he's just going to go.
I'm going to get a text.
Can I get away with this now? Maybe I'm just going to call Meanie a fat piece of shit from now on.
Yeah, while he listens. So I'm going to get a text or a DM or something. Be like, dude, there's public Blue Meanie, and then there's slide into your DMs rotten joke Meanie. But
if you would like Meanie to slide into your DMs with a rotten joke, is that something we can do? Like, you buy a shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees, Meanie will slide into your DMs with a rotten joke.
Hey, why not?
I don't know. Buy a shirt and then wait and see what happens, and we'll
see.
Maybe not. I don't even know what we're talking about at this point.
Shit, what were we talking about? Rewind. I forget.
No, we're live, pal. I don't know. I have no idea.
Do it live?
Do it live.
Fucking thing sucks.
Man,
what's that even mean? I threw you off your fucking game, didn't I?
I am way off my game. No, we're talking
about apocalypse mustache.
Yeah,
we're talking about Generation X.
Generation X.
Generation X.
That's a new thing that we're selling. It's a new sponsor.
I am fucking sending that one into the government to trademark later.
Go to GenerationX.com, and you too can. No, we're gonna try
That's
not
like
to talk
if you
about.
mix DX with Blue. Well, they're not sponsored yet, so I can't say.
No.
But with
That would have been a great opportunity.
With a gas station dick pill.
Yeah. So
Generation X.
Yeah, now it seems like to go back to talking about the
should we start over?
But no. So here's my right. So here's my feeling on the millennial situation. As we were saying, so I was born in '83. So someone born like my year or in a couple of years. I mean, he's getting half hot again. Yeah. Someone born around that time, like I grew up with technology. Like as the technology advanced, I grew up with it. Like I remember as a kid, I remember TVs that didn't have remotes. And I also remember, the first flat screen TV coming out while I was still relatively young. I mean, I was, flat screen, I guess I was maybe college or something, by the time they were affordable for us normal folks. But I always kind of grew up with it. So I always kind of had a weird feeling on being lumped into the same generation as somebody, let's say, born in 1993. Okay. Right. So you have someone born in 93. They're 10 years old in 2003. Like they've had a completely different first 10 years of their lives than I had from 83 to 93. And I just, I've always had it's always been weird to me to think. And you look at like professional wrestling and you can break wrestling down generation to generation. You can look at, the 90s and the 80s and the 2000s stuff. And again, I look at it, I go like, well, how on earth are you claiming that a kid that was like playing with their action figures during the Attitude Era versus the kid that had the LJN figures back in the day? Like, you know what I mean? It's so I've always felt that it needs to be a little tighter as the years went on, that once you started like in the 80s, even the end of the 70s, like things started moving very quickly. And I feel like it's you can't lump it the way you used to.
It's just weird watching like stuff from back when I was a kid or stuff like now and just think, that was 30, 40 years ago and stuff like that. And it's just like, this seems like yesterday. I keep calling 2012, 2002 or stuff like that. It's just like, oh wow, there's a whole decade in between that and stuff like that.
Oh, it's insane. I remember I felt like around like the 2012, 2014, that I felt like the 90s was the previous decade.
I'm right there with you. Me and you are in this potato sack race of what the fuck. Just we're both in the same sag on where'd that last decade go,
Yeah. It really that like it's weird because the 2000s from 2000 to 2010 in a lot of ways felt like multiple decades. I think, like you had, of course you have like the real world stuff like 9/11 happening in 2001. Well, all of a sudden beginning of 2001 to the end of 2001, we're like living in a completely different decade because the world changed. Yeah. But, and I wonder if obviously while very different, I wonder if that's kind of how like people around the age that we were are going to feel the same way with this coronavirus thing, that like everything has just changed in the world, Yeah,
it's so weird that, we're almost like 100 years removed away from a whole different, like 100 years ago, back in the 1900s, there was a virus and a plague.
The Spanish flu, right?
Something like that, yeah. And it was here in Philadelphia where, and thanks, Philly. Like there was like this thing. Hey, there was a stay-at-home order back then, and of course, Philly was going to have this parade, and they're like, "Hey, don't hold a parade. Don't have this parade, whatever."
Yeah,
they're like, F you. We're going to have our parade, and all these thousands of people went to the parade, and they wound up getting the virus. And thousands of people died. Thousands of people got sick. And flash forward to 100 years, almost 100 years later, that was like 1919.
Yeah, because it was
20. Now we're in 2020. Yeah. Now we got this thing, and you're seeing videos of people having house parties and stuff like that. I know you're talking about millennials and all this stuff. It's just like so weird. Like everything's cyclical in a way too. Where you think one fad's dead and it comes back.
Yeah.
Decades later.
Like bell bottoms.
Yeah, and like there's like
only it's a virus that kills everybody.
Hold on. Let me get my coffee here.
All right.
Hold on.
I have my coffee.
Hold on. Let me pure silence for me first. That's a good cup of coffee.
Yeah, there we are.
So,
It's great. I have like 100 of these mugs all over the place of my like So Says Shernoff mugs, or On the Ropes, or behind me I have my Shernoff vodka looking, like the Smirnoff vodka one. That's and awesome. The mug I'm drinking of is just a generic random mug.
Hey, theater of the mind, man. Folks at home don't ruin their Christmas, man. They think you got Shernoff stuff all over the place. So.
I do. I just don't use any of it. There's nothing in my mug. It's just I just broke the fourth wall.
What are you, Mr. Roper on the on Three's Company when he hits Mrs. Roper with a zinger and he looks at the camera and like, hey,
yep,
gotcha, bitch.
I just want to be loved.
Hey.
So what's up, man? What's happening in this? The last 10 minutes have been really interesting. Definitely,
there goes a whole theory. There goes a whole theory. Like people are like, oh man, these guys have a chemistry, and then me and you just we're like OJ and fucking Naked Gun, stepping in the bear trap, and then you fall on wet paint, and then your face you go face first into a cake, and then you fly out the window, and then you catch on fire.
It's good. That's
been like the first couple minutes.
Yeah, they're going to remember this. They're going to say, Mind of the Meanie started off pretty strong, got better and better. By episode 5, man, they really were onto something. By episode 6, they just shit the bed. It was...
This is our behind the music segment where it goes, and then it went for the worst. Sad music. Put the fucking gray, you put me in black and white.
And just like the slow pan in, and
I look like I'm trying to register whether that was a fart or a shark kind of look face on my face, where I'm just like, ugh.
Fun fact, it's always a shark.
Fun fact, I couldn't fall asleep last night, so like I'm tossing and turning.
Where is this going?
You'll see. And I'm laying in bed. I'm like, man, it's like 3 or 4 o'clock. I'm like, oh my god! And I was like, you know what? Let me see if I just go to the bathroom. I go to the bathroom, put one foot up on the top. I
don't know if this is even any better as far as podcasts go, but we're having fun.
This is the part where the drugs kick in, right? I go to the bathroom. Dude.
Man.
I put my foot up on the tub and I let out a fart. It sounded like a tea kettle with the screaming shits. It was just like, oh.
Did it wake Mrs. Meanie?
She was so mad that I was not recording anything. It's like, she was like, dude, she hates when I talk about this stuff, so like kayfabe. But nobody's listening, right?
Yeah, right.
But it was like, dude, I could have called. If Guinness was in the room, I would have had a fucking plaque in my hand with that one. It was just like, it was like, oh my god! Like somebody gave a fucking.
Is this quarantine diet not working out for you, or
oh my god? I gotta wipe my eyes. I was laughing too fucking hard. Oh my god. Oh my god!
Last week, somehow you managed to keep relatively straight face throughout our Manscaped ad.
Well, here's the secret. There's like some stories I've told before, and this is like
just happened. This is
like 6 hours ago. Whenever 3 a.m. was from now, dude. Like like if I ever got, so I couldn't fall asleep because I had a gas bubble, and I was
Yeah.
But I went in the bathroom and fucking unleashed the fucking crack, and I learned fucking the fucking
Oh.
curtains went all to one side. Just like
Oh, man.
in the fucking fucking Alfred Hitchcock movie Psycho, where the fucking the curtain fucking around and shit like that. But holy shit, man, that was a fart day. Ugh.
Man. Well, hey,
I've had farts.
congratulations.
I've had farts that could like totally end a marriage.
I think was it Al Snow who was warning me when we did that thing with him about your farts?
Oh, I've totally ruined somebody's car.
Yeah, I think it was Al was saying when we were talking about doing the podcast, and he was just basically like, as long as you're not traveling together.
He's ribbing, but this dude. Okay, here's a story. Right, I was training with Al, and Al was doing a shot in New Jersey for Dennis Corluzzo.
Mm-hmm.
It was the NWA World Title Tournament. I'm trying to think. I don't know. Oh, this. Oh, okay. Duh, I should fucking know this, right? ECW had the tournament, and Shane threw down the belt.
Oh, it was that tournament.
So this was the tournament for after that.
To get a new champion and
crown a new champion, which ironically was Chris Candido won,
right?
And he wound up teaming with Shane Douglas in the triple threat. So there's that irony. But for the tournament, I'm still living in Al's gym, but we're going back to Jersey. I was like, hey man, I'll come along for the ride. So we drive like 13 hours. It's me, Al Snow, the woman I'm sure I've either talked about or I will talk about a lot, named Phyllis Lee. She was like a den mother to all the boys, like me, X-Pac. She helped a lot of people get in the business. She was Dan Severn's manager for the UFC and all this. And she managed a lot of MMA guys. She's in the car, and we're driving our friend Jason Campbell's car. Jason Campbell's a really good historian. He has a website, Pro Wrestling Tournaments and Supercards or something like that. Google him. Fact check them. Fact check me, please. I'll allow it this way.
That's the next shirt. Fact check me, please.
Yeah, please. So we're driving from Lima, Ohio to Cherry Hill, New Jersey. The ride there, like traveling with Al, is always fun. It's a blast. Like this podcast, sometimes the wheels just fall off, and we're like laughing at things you really shouldn't be laughing at, and it's just goofy. So we go from Lima to Cherry Hill, and then the first show is in Pleasantville. So me, Al, Phyllis, and Jason drive over to Pleasantville, and it's a joint show where it's half Dennis Corluzzo, half Smoky Mountain.
Okay.
There's a lot of Smoky Mountain talent on the show, which is awesome. I get to see Tracy Smothers, and who I had known from working every Thursday in Indianapolis, Indiana for Circle City Wrestling. This is around the time my grandfather was sick, so I said, "Hey, Jason, can I just hop over to Atlantic City real quick?" Hop in his car, drive to Atlantic City, say hello to Grandma, say hi to my sister, see what's going on, hop back just in time to catch the show, and then it was a good show. It was like I said, half Smoky Mountain. I saw there was a young Balls Mahoney on there as a Buddhist thing. He was spitting the fire. He was doing like a Middle Eastern gimmick. He had the baggy pants and all that stuff. So we drive from Pleasantville back to Cherry Hill. Next day's the tournament. Al's in the tournament. Okay, so the tournament happens. All this happy horseshit. And we're driving back to Lima, Ohio. And this is where I knew it was going to be a great fucking ride, because we're coming over. This is back, now in Philly, there's the Walt Whitman Bridge.
Right.
You go from South Philly to Jersey. And there used to be a toll on both sides of the road. Now it's just the one side. The whatever. I think most cities do that now. So we pull up to the toll booth, and whatchamacallit, Phyllis said something. She's like, "Oh, I have to find a mailbox. I have to mail a letter." And we're like, "Well, this is a fucking toll booth. What are you doing?" Yeah, Which she totally didn't mean that, but I saw the opportunity to, dive in and break her balls. If she like stumbled, I'd be like, Phyllis, what are you doing? Hitting the cough medicine or something like that? The call, if she tripped, getting out of the car, Phyllis is hitting the bottle, just breaking balls, stuff like that. So it was one of those trips. I was like, man, I got to fart. And I thought I was being discreet about it. And, you fucking lean up and do the one cheek sneak.
Yeah.
Like, where it's just like, you don't get sound, but you get the, you get that action. And, of course, everybody in the fucking car sells it, right?
Yeah.
So this is like opening up the floodgates. I just invited a vampire into my house because, like, it was that one fart brought some friends with it. So
you broke the seal, is what you did.
I broke the seal. I broke my potty hymen.
Oh man, what are we gonna call this episode?
Not potty hymen.
Not. I think the titty tassel screw job was about as
prom night potty hymen. Prom night potty hymen.
That one I'm not even gonna pitch as a shirt. So we're not. Sometimes Meanie will say things sometimes that I will choose to
jot down.
Yeah, I'll jot them down and I'll say, hey, maybe we put this on a shirt. And sometimes Meanie is the smarter one who goes, it's probably not ideal to put that out there. Man, that one I'm not even gonna attempt. But feel free to make your own. And
no, I'm good, man. No prom night potty hymen. Shirts. Like I said, I could say fuck. I just feel awkward wearing a shirt that says fuck.
Yeah.
I have to walk around like I feel like Janet Jackson covering my tits.
Well, that's why you need shirts like the baby laying in a beanbag chair.
Yeah,
which is just an adorable baby in a nice blue beanbag chair. And if
reference to nothing personal.
No, if you know. And go to prowrestlingtees.com/mind of the meanie, and you can walk around with that. So all right. So you basically you
go back to my
little more sizzle than steak, but a whole lot of sizzle.
I don't know what the fuck I ate.
Okay.
Like Al's like, what did you eat? And I told him, he's like, please stop eating that. please don't eat that. Why did you eat that? This is 20 years later. I can't think of what the fuck I ate. But once every 5 minutes, just hold on, just letting them out.
What are these, like contractions? Like what?
Dude, I was giving birth to fucking food baby.
I was gonna say, and then so as the contractions got closer and closer towards the end, you basically just shit yourself.
Well, dude, it was just farts are just to turd you on. So I mean, it's just a fucking. Seriously, it's just a fucking. It's what it is. That's all a fart is. It's a turd you on. But we're like 6 hours into this fucking thing, and we made dude, the biggest rib. We fucking pulled over at a rest area, and Jason had one of those old school like Chryslers.
Mm-hmm.
And before I got out, I hit the fucking kid lock on the door and shut the door, and Phyllis couldn't get out of the car. 6 hours into the trip, she wants to get out, stretch her legs, and smell something that isn't my ass. And I just hit the child locks on the door, and she's like Waldo in the Hot for Teacher video, banging on the glass. Like,
oh my god!
So, long story short, it's a 13-hour drive from Cherry Hill to.
So this
Lima.
is actually the short version of the story.
This is legit. Once every 5 minutes, I'm pounding fucking drill bits into the floor underneath my seat. Just fucking, I'm digging for I'm fucking killing this fucking, and they're cloth seats. So it's like,
that's not coming out.
No. So we get to Philly and, say goodbyes, and Jason's like, fuck you. And turns out, like, anytime, like for a good year or so, anytime like the sun would hit that seat, the smell of my ass would come out of the fucking cloth. Like
Oh.
there's parts during the trip where I didn't have to fart, but like if I adjusted, like moved around, like guys, I'm getting restless legs. It would be like hitting a fucking cushion, like an accordion, just pushing fart air out of the thing. I didn't even
Wow.
have to have fresh rounds for the mace Al. Like I would just adjust to my seat, and the chair would go
So,
and just blow it right in Al's
so
face,
this
and
whole
he's trying to light me on fire.
so this whole story began by you implying that Al was just ribbing you when he told me just to make sure I'm not traveling with you. But it sounds like he was very serious about
Oh
this.
no,
So I think
I had to shoot.
yeah.
Here's the go home for that story.
Okay.
We're in the Hope spot. I'm gonna take it home. Um, fucking, like I said, we lived in Lima. Jason was going to school in Bowling Green, so he had like another hour to drive. He said, like, dude, I would get in the car and I would just smell your ass. He went and got like a bowl of vinegar and just left it in his car overnight, trying to think,
Uh-huh.
it would kill the smell. No. And then,
Wow.
like, fucking a year later, he gets into an accident and he gets rid of the car. He's like, man, you know what? Having a stiff neck is worth, getting to that accident and having that fucking stiff neck from the accident is worth having a car that doesn't smell like the Blue Meanie's ass.
So there's a person who literally has chosen to be in a car accident versus
Yeah,
having to continue to smell your
I'm
ass.
not saying he purposely wrecked, like, or maybe the
There's
ghost
just
of
too
Blue
much
Meanie
for him.
part. Yeah, maybe he just whited out, and just.
Jeez.
But yeah,
Oh man.
there was
Well,
that, and one time I stopped the concert with a fart too. So I
what?
mean, yeah, yeah,
How
I
you stopped the concert?
stopped the concert.
How big was this concert?
Uh, like
Is that the
2002.
Wachovia Center?
Fucking dude, that would have been fucking great if it was that big of a venue. But it was the world famous Whiskey A Go Go in fucking Hollywood, and
Hey, that's still pretty
that's
pretty
still pretty
impressive.
fucking epic.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is like when I was dieting. I went from like 390 to 240 or whatever. So I'm like high proteining it up and
Oh
down
yeah.
to 240. And we went to see the band Atomic Punks,
Hmm.
the Atomic Punks, which is a Van Halen tribute band. And the singer and the guitar player are currently in Steel Panther.
Okay.
Uh, and I don't know what. We were standing there, we're watching the opening act, and we're like, whatever. There's a bunch of people behind me, and they're like dancing around or whatever. They keep bumping into me, and I like did the polite like turn around, like let them acknowledge that hey, please knock this shit off, please. Yeah, and they're like, yeah, it's not like a moshing kind of thing, but they're
Right.
like boom, like hip checking me, and they're dancing like hoo hoo. It's
When was this? Were
I was like,
you the Blue Meanie at this point?
it, it was right before we went back to ECW. So yeah, I was still
Okay. Oh,
technically the Blue
right.
Meanie.
Because you said you were losing the weight. Right. Okay. I got that.
Yeah, I don't talk about that Blue Boy gimmick. That was like 6 months. It's not
Okay.
even worth fucking remembering. It was just foot in the door.
I didn't put two and two together about what the time of the weight loss. I was wondering if this was before your wrestling career, or like, you know what I mean?
Oh no, yeah,
No.
oh
So this
yeah,
was. Well, I'm just wondering, are you there? Blue hair, kind of.
oh yeah,
Although I guess that doesn't really.
yeah. Blue
In some,
hair, blue beard.
but in
I
some
was,
circles, that doesn't really stand out. So
yeah,
you
and
know,
we're in Hollywood where like
yeah.
people know, like somebody could be. Fucking Nicolas Cage be walking down the street. No, people just know something because they're just so used to seeing
Yeah.
people
No,
out.
I lived out in California for a couple of years, and I saw some things that make the Blue Meanie full attire look like that's what you'd wear to a boardroom compared to some of the things I saw walking down the street. So yeah, no, I got you.
So I'm there, and these people are bumping into me. I'm like, all right, I've had enough of this shit. So like there was one person there. I'd like kind of nuzzled my butt cheeks up against her thigh and just fucking just I fucking went in for the kill just and holy shit. Oh my god. It's like it was like Christmas bonus. Just like there was like more there than I expected, and protein farts, right?
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
So like it was kind of like the car. Like I let one guy. Like if I hadn't let that one out, I would probably have been good for the night.
Yeah.
But like it's like when you let a kid swear, you let them get away with saying a swear word, and then they want to say like even more swears. So I let it go. I turn around and they're dancing and they get their shirts over their fucking faces.
Oh man.
and this is like in between bands and stuff like that. I was like, all right. And fucking, I'm just fucking letting them go. And eventually somebody over at the bar yells, "Stop farting!" I'm at the front of the stage at the Whiskey A Go-Go, the world famous Whiskey A Go-Go, where the Doors played and all these other bands played, got their big break. And I'm fucking tearing up to the point where somebody all the way in the back of the room at the bar yells, "Stop farting!" So the Atomic Punks come on, and they're playing. This is so ironic. They're playing a song, "You Really Got Me," and I feel I'm getting the bubble guts, like I got to fart again. I'm just like, oh man, oh no, oh my god, and the singer. The people at home, we're on video, so I'm like demonstrating with my hand, like it's like when two planes collide and during a show or whatever. He's walking. I feel the fart coming. I'm like, my stomach. I got the bubble guts, and I just let it go. I was like, I couldn't hold it back. And he's walking towards me, and the fart's going up at the same time, and I guess him and the fart met at the fucking crossroads. And the singer, Ralph, or whatever he calls himself in Steel Panther, goes, "Whoa, whoa, 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 stop, 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 stop." And he fucking, the band stops playing. So he goes, "Oh my God, somebody in the crowd shit their pants." So every hand in the Whiskey A Go-Go points right to me. Like, imagine a Where's Waldo where somebody's standing there, but everyone in the room is pointing to Waldo. Like, there he is. Wow. That was me. And he went, "Was it you?" And I just put my hands up like, like, me worry? And he joking around, he goes, he waves his hand in front of his face. He goes, "Oh, you really got me." And they went right back into the song where they left off. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, true story.
Man, and to think that we were originally going to do this podcast locked in a radio booth. Man, this doing this remotely has become more and more appealing.
Yeah.
The more we talk about this. Oh man, that's hey, while we're talking about bands, and because I feel like we did about 20 minutes on farts, so I feel like we can shift. No, that's incredible though that you actually shut down a concert.
True fucking story,
man. But talking about bands, so I've noticed behind you, and you talked about this being video, but I can't, so nobody else can see this. But it looks like you have a drum behind you.
Oh, my whatchamacallit? Like I've been doing a lot of media and stuff like that besides the podcast and
I should say it's not like you don't have head. It's a drum head. You don't have like hanging on your wall. You don't have like a bongo sitting there behind you or something. But
no, I'm not going to play or nothing. But like I got like a variety of photos on the wall behind me, and like there's one of me and Mrs. Meanie from a Phillies game. In the back of it fell, like ripped or whatever. I was like, I got this like void behind me. I'm like, I hate that. There's like this big empty space. And Mrs. Meanie was doing some arranging, and she found this drum head, which used to be up in our middle room office. It's signed by the band The Cult.
Okay, that's
And
what I was going to ask. Who signed it? 'Cause
yeah,
it's signed all over. Oh, I
yeah,
see the Colt at the bottom now. I see.
yeah,
It says
right there.
Colt.
That's Matt Sorm.
And this was,
Uh,
it looks like 99.
yes,
Okay.
there's a good story with that story too. Ian Asbury signed it, Billy Duffy signed it, and Martin, whose last name I forget, but he played bass in Porno for Pyros. He signed it, and I think the only person I missed was I think they had a backup guitar player playing rhythm behind Billy Duffy. But back in the day, Bud Light had this gimmick called the Bud Light Blind Dance, blind Bud Light Blind Date, right?
I say that 5
And
times fast.
oh my God, it's brutal. Um, where they contest winners would be flown in from around the country, sent to a venue, and they wouldn't know who's playing until they hit the stage. So it's
Oh, I
like
think I remember the commercials for this.
yeah, the
Yeah.
blind date. So my friend Scotty, who's in the band Bonehead, and what you call it, his band Bonehead was opening up. He's like, "Hey man, we're opening up for the." He's in a band now called the Life Cycle Band. Really good, check him out. He's like, "Dude, we're opening up for the Cult." I was like, "Where?" He goes, "The Electric Factory." I'm like, "I haven't seen the advertising." No, 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 no. It's a secret show. Like people don't know who's showing up until they get there. I'm like, "Oh, cool." And I'm in the WWF at the time, so I reach out to one of the guys in, I guess you could say, talent relations.
Mhm.
Hey, can you get me into this? So he gets back to me. He's like, yeah, I got you in. You're in. You're good. So my friend Joey Campbell from the Swamp Candles was also there. He found a way to. He went and saw the Cult the night before in New York City,
Okay.
and he hung out and met some of the guys from the Cult the night before, and he tipped them off. Billy Duffy tipped off Joe. He's like, "Oh well, we have this gig tomorrow. It's a secret, you know." So somehow Joey got in there too, which was awesome because I love Joey. I love the Cult, and I'm just hanging out with my bud. We're watching Bonehead play. Those guys are my buds. And the funny thing is, Matt Sorm's the drummer for the Cult. So people are hanging out trying to figure out who's playing this gig. And they see this one box get pushed into the Electric Factory. It says Guns N' Roses on it. Matt Sorm also played in Guns N' Roses. So people are like, people start speculating. And then they see that, Guns N' Roses. My friend Joey's a ball buster. He's like, yeah, I heard Dawkins playing tonight or something. You know, he's trying to poison the well
Yeah,
of
right. Spreading it around.
yeah, Chumbawamba's playing or something. Even though we knew
Did Chumbawamba ever do an actual concert?
I don't know. We used that Tub Thumping song once.
Yeah.
It's like the unofficial Job Squad theme song.
I was gonna say,
I get knocked down.
Yeah.
And I get up again.
Did they have another song? That's the only song. That's the only Chumbawamba song that I've ever heard.
Yeah, and that's probably going to be the only Chumbawamba reference on this show.
Yeah.
Like me and Nova came out to
we're
it.
Huge Chumbawamba marks on this show. So.
Yeah, I'm an OG Chumbawamba. Sounds like a Teletubby or something.
Yeah.
Chumbawambas. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chumbawambas.
Just pissing the night away.
Exactly.
Yep.
But we're there in the crowd, right? And like Bonehead plays, blah blah blah. There's a good house, and they come on. They're like, "Ladies and gentlemen, the Cult," and half the crowd. I mean, the Cult. They're an amazing band. I love the Cult. One of the greatest rock bands nobody ever talks about, right? Mm-hmm. But some of the crowd was like disappointed because they weren't seeing Guns N' Roses or Dokken or Chumbawamba. I don't know.
Definitely Chumbawamba's what pissed everybody off, though.
So me and Joe are up front because we're like super marks, right? Mm-hmm. We're like, "Ooh, Ian Asbury, ooh, your hair," and then that dude had amazing hair. And like half the joint fucking empties out. We turn around and it's like almost like we're having a private concert.
You didn't even have to fart.
No.
And it just emptied out on its own. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. Like if, most of those people hung around, they would probably have become huge Cult fans. Mm-hmm. And it was like one of the best have you ever seen a band in a setting that was so cool? They go, I never need to see them again, ever.
Yeah.
Like, I saw the Cult at the Electric Factory, secret gig. Nobody knew except for me and my best friend in the world, Joey Campbell. And after the place, we looked behind us, and it was basically the front row and just us, and we had a private show with the Cult.
Yeah, I should take that back.
Go ahead.
I've had concerts that I've been to in like a small intimate setting like that, but never that I was like, oh man, this is so. I get what you're saying is you don't want to see them again because you're never going to see. It's never going to be better.
It's never going to be
better. I've had concerts like that where I've then gone and seen a band again, and it was not what that first experience was.
I never. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I'm just saying I get that because I never thought about that before, but there were definitely concerts I'd been to a second time where I look back and go, I should have just not gone. It's like when you have a match that's like this classic match, and then they go back to it a month later. It's like, well, don't. It was you're never gonna recapture what that was.
I never need to see Ozzy Osbourne in concert ever again.
Yeah,
because me and Mrs. Meanie went down to Ozfest in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
I'm buddies with the guys from Black Label Society, Zach Wild, and JD, the bass player, and all that stuff. So I went down there just to hang with them, and they were playing the side stage. Well, this is the tour where Ozzy was flip-flopping between the main stage and the side stage. One night he would play the main stage, and then the next night one of the other bands like System of a Down would headline the main stage, and Ozzy would just play the side stage. Well, this trip we went down to Virginia, and Ozzy was playing the side stage, and it was awesome. It was like, you go see Ozzy, and he does all this, has all these effects and all this stuff on stage and stuff. But me and Mrs. Me went and watched Ozzy, and it was like watching Ozzy. You ever see those videos of Black Sabbath from the 60s where they're playing out the middle in the daylight and they're wearing t-shirt and jeans, and it's just like Ozzy was in a white t-shirt and a pair of jeans, and it was just Zach Wild. It was just a band. It was like a bare bones, but it was still Ozzy. It was Zach Wild. It was such an amazing show. Like when it was done, I was like, I never need to see Ozzy Osbourne ever again because that was the coolest experience. Yeah. Anytime he comes to town, I'm like, nope. I saw him in a good spot.
Yeah,
it's like the band Motley Crue. I never need to see them in concert. I was in California, and my friend had passes to go to see Motley Crue play the Jimmy Kimmel show, and it was like this summer series. Jimmy Kimmel does the summer series where they'll set up a stage behind the building and have a parking lot full of fans and stuff like that. And he's like, "Hey man, you want to go see Motley Crue?" I was like, "Yeah." So they went and played the TV show, and then after the TV show, they did a whole nother like 6 or 7 songs. I was like, "Oh, I never need to go see Motley Crue ever again because nothing's going to top that experience."
Yeah,
so,
I had a similar thing with Hanson.
Dude, I laughed, but I will say Hanson is underrated. They're an amazing band. They're great.
Just a bunch of hot girls. Do you remember that when that was the rumor when Hanson first came out like years and years ago that like they thought they were girls because they had long hair?
I wouldn't doubt it, but I never heard that.
Yeah, I was. I don't know. Again, Hanson. So are they actually? Because I think we all know.
Oh, stop.
Okay. Because I'm all about. I'll get into some Hanson with you if that's what you're trying.
They had the hit,
right?
Like when you want to get over with the people.
Yeah, I've actually never heard anything from them other than that Oomba.
Whatchamacallit, like most bands, when you want to get over real quick, it's kind of like a cover band. Like I was saying, I was talking to somebody. I was like, most bands come out with a cover, and then that's a good way to slip in your original material. Like when Limp Bizkit came out, they did Faith, and then they got over with Faith, and then okay, here's our song,
right?
And then they got over from there. But like I guess Oombop wasn't a cover per se, but it was like a real catchy song.
Yeah.
And people, I guess people mistaken them for maybe a one-hit wonder, but
well, I think they were so young. They were like these young, really young kids, and that was a weird like poppy era where like it was interesting because that was like a time where like grunge and stuff, I feel like was really taking off. And I think there became like this divide where you just had like the super, super bubblegum poppy music. And then you had anything that was like kind of anti-establishment, what ECW always said, like ECW was the like grunge rock of, of wrestling. So like it, I think there was like so much of that. And then everything kind of like, I think lines started blurring as time went on between all kinds of different genres of music. And you and I have talked about music before, like that I think I'm a fan of at least a handful of songs of like all the bands that you like. But I was always, for me, like my favorite band of all time was Bare Naked Ladies. Like I grew up with that. It was the Canadian alternative rock, I guess, was my my cup of tea. But I love Bare Naked Ladies. You were talking about the hits. They had 1 week was their big US hit. And I had been fan of theirs for years prior to that. And 1 week is probably one of my least favorite of their songs because they've just got, there's all that like really, really good music that they did. And then it was like, okay, and now we need to do some silly poppy song that's going to get us played on the radio. And, but you and I definitely have different tastes in music, but I
not really.
But yeah. I mean, I guess like the music we follow is kind of different, but we both like the music.
And a sidebar to Bare Naked Ladies with that song 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
It's been 1 week.
Yeah.
Every time I hear that song, I think of John Cronus because we'd be on road trips, and this is back in the day before MP3 players, and there you either had a tape cassette or whatever, or you had the radio, or you're twisting the knob trying to find a station to come in. If that song came on, he would try to sing the fucking part where it goes, where the dude with the brown hair, well, I can't think of his name. He does the little rap.
Oh,
where
Ed,
they go,
Ed, yeah.
And Cronus would try to do that.
The chickadee China, the Chinese chicken, that part?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the part John Cronus would always, and John Cronus, if you know John Cronus, he's a carrier. Hey, brother, get the Johnny pump, brother. And John Cronus is like, chicken to China, the Chinese. And he would try to do the whole rap. And I'd be in tears laughing because it would be something new every time. So anytime that song came on, I would like perk up like, oh, what's John going to sing now? And stuff like that.
That would have, at that time period, that would have blown my mind as a fan to have heard John. Like, because if you gave me a lineup of every wrestler active at that time, John Cronus would have been at the very back of the guys that I, as a fan, would have been like, oh, he'd probably be messing around doing that. But because the Eliminators, man, as a fan, they were just like he was always crazy. He always seemed like, kind of crazy on TV. I never met him.
Cronus was crazy, but so lovable.
Yeah.
And I still see his son around town. He has a son named Gage.
Okay.
Who I see all the time. I brought him to a convention. I brought him around to the boys, and they were just like stunned.
Wow.
Like talk about, oh, yesterday you were a child, and like I'm like, hey, here's Gage, and they're like, what? Like Bubba Ray Dudley, just, oh my god. And then they had the conversation, but
I felt who I felt that way with Colby Carino.
Yeah.
I met him. Maybe it was like he was a little kid, and I met him. Maybe it was like 2000 or something like that, or like around that time. And
I met him when he was a baby in diapers, and then he had his LJN. Is that, I guess his Steve passed down the LJNs to Colby, and Colby would be playing with action figures or dolls. That's why I was modest for saying.
We don't use the D. Don't use the D word.
We don't respect the D.
There.
The doll word. But no, Colby would be just a baby playing. Mm-hmm. And then, like a couple months ago, the NWA asked me to do this watch along for their new show called Circle Square, where I watch a show blindly and just give feedback. And when Colby came out, I was just so into telling Colby stories. I don't even think I'd even said one thing about the match. It was Colby Carino against George South. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. I love George South. I love Colby Carino, and Colby's a spitting image of his father. I met Steve '94 at Chubby Dudley Bayragni had a wrestling school, and I'm blanking on his partner's name, and I feel real bad. And Colby was there. I went there with Stevie. Like me, Stevie, JT Smith went over to Bay School, and a young Steve Carino was there. He was so polite, and like he looked then like Colby looks just like his father.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I ended up
doing.
I hadn't seen him in a couple decades, and I ended up doing commentary for an indie promotion about a year and a half ago, and I'm there, and I'm kind of just saying hello to all the boys and everything, and yeah, and there he was, and I was just like, I couldn't, because you just don't. I guess when you don't see someone who's a little kid for a long time, they just in your mind they don't grow up, and here he is, and he's in the ring, and dude's a hell of a talent.
Yeah, dude,
really, and super amazing. Super nice guy too.
Him and Steve. Oh, well, I guess they're Canadian, so they have to be polite. Yeah, I think Canadians are legally obligated to be polite.
Yeah.
So. And Steve's sister Kathy was wrestling for a while. Kathy Korean, she was Allison Danger.
Oh, I didn't know they were related.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Dude, how could you not know they were related? I mean, they're just. It's like somebody took carbon paper and traced them all out, and they all came out the same. But I mean, technically they're you talk about wrestling families. They're a wrestling family, and their dad was promoting shows in North Carolina for a little while and stuff like that. But I love the Carinos. I got nothing but love for them. But back to music. The ECW locker room loved Bop, by the way.
When we first pitched this show and said that we were going to be talking about movies and music and all that, I did not think that Bop and Chumbawamba or whatever that they were going to be some of the stuff we're talking about. But classics.
Bill Wiles from ECW, who was Belvis Wesley.
Yeah,
and he was in the ECW under a bunch of different gimmicks. He when Stevie left for WCW, we tried bringing Bill in with us as Boogaloo Bill Wiles because he can legit breakdance. Oh. Bill's talented. He's a drummer. He's a musician.
One of the cops that arrested Stone Cold.
What was this? Meanie for the save here. Bill Wiles, who I'm talking about, was also one of the cops that arrested Stone Cold Steve Austin in Madison Square Garden. So Mrs. Meanie with the factoid running in there. Yeah, it's always on the network. When they talk about the Attitude Era and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, when he stunned. It was when he stunned Vince for the first time.
First time.
Yeah.
Stone Cold stunned Vince. Bill Wiles and Danny McDevitt from Maryland Championship Wrestling were two of the four cops that arrested Stone Cold. And here's a story about that. Mm-hmm. I don't mean to tell Bill's story, but Bill's got a great story about it. Like if I don't want to wait to get him on to tell the story, but we're here talking about Stone Cold. He's like, Candido got them in to do the Raw. They're going to be the cops. They're the local indie guys being the cops on Raw. And they're like, this is a big deal. He's going to stun Vince. These guys arrest him. And the one guy who was Candido's buddy thought it was like a shoot. You see the stunner, and there's the guy with the slick back hair. He's coming in with almost like with a billy club, and Bill Wiles has put his hand like, no. Like, it's not a shoot. We're not real cops.
Oh, jeez.
But Bill is in the act of handcuffing Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Steve's wild, right? Yeah. And he's flailing around, and Bill goes, "Dude, stand still!" And Stone Cold stops for 1 second, just so he could get the handcuffs on him, because Bill Wiles is like, "This is the biggest angle of the year. We're at Madison Square Garden. Yeah. I gotta arrest Stone Cold. I can't get these damn handcuffs on Stone Cold Steve Austin." He goes, "Dude, stand still!" And he goes. His statue for a second. He gets the handcuffs on and then goes back to Stone Cold mode. Yeah.
Hey.
You gotta watch that.
Thank you, Mrs. Meanie. I will say,
yes.
Jeffrey Mitchell at Father of Ben on Twitter actually sent in an Ask Meanie. This wasn't really. I guess this is asked and answered right now. Mrs. Meanie's shout-ins are quickly becoming my favorite part of the show. Can we get a hashtag Mrs. Meanie minute on future episodes? Hashtag Ask Meanie. So this wasn't one of our official Ask Meanies, but I figured this is a good time to throw it in. I think that is kind of your Mrs. Meanie minute. And she can take her minute whenever she wants.
hold on.
I can't help it. I have like severe ADD, and when he sits here and does interviews, I have to be quiet the whole time. And in reality, I just want to be like, because that's what I do.
Well, when you have,
and it's his show, so I'll jump in and I'll say something, but I'll try not to. I don't.
Well, the rules here is there's no rules.
yeah, and when you have something as important to say as what you just said there,
She's the good part of my brain because there's a lot of shit I forgot, and she'll say something and it'll jar a memory.
I try not to interrupt because it's rude, but sometimes I can't help it.
It's the apocalypse.
Because the Blue Meanie's an idiot. Gotta help him along a little.
well,
she keeps me grounded.
Yeah, we all appreciate the run-ins by Mrs. Meanie.
Dude, she's my best friend. I love her to death. One of the funniest people I know, even though she won't put herself over.
Cooking and streaking is my favorite thing to do.
She cooks and streaks. It's just it's like living with sour shoes from the Howard Stern show. It's like like, man, what do the neighbors fucking think? It's just like. But nah, she's funny. She's crafty, very talented.
Yeah,
my shirts.
We've talked about some. Hey, you know what? That feels like a perfect time to plug some of those shirts. Why don't we go?
And Mrs. Meanie just screams seamless because like every time we listen to we'll listen to Jericho and he'll do that thing where he's talking to the guy and goes into the plug.
Oh, I love Jericho. It may be the only thing Chris Jericho's ever done that I'm not a fan of.
Really? I love it. Oh my God.
Well, it's because it would always be like, so like we'd be talking and then it would just be like everything, like it would change. So as if I was talking to you and then we're having a conversation, I go, well, okay, Meanie. Well, we'll talk about that in just a moment. But before we continue, and you're just like, all right, obviously,
right.
That was placed in, but
yeah, we try to call the spot before it happens, like talks about me on these or whatever. But
no, I love Chris Jericho.
But
he's not losing sleep over my just saying that, but
and I just fucked up the seamless flow into the Pro Wrestling Tees plug, but we just had to.
Did you say Pro Wrestling Tees? Do you know?
I did say Pro Wrestling Tees.
Blue Meanie, do you know that if you're a fan of Mind of the Meanie, you can go to mindofthemeanie.com, which will take you directly to prowrestlingtees.com/Mind of the Meanie, where you can get all of our amazing shirts. Meanie, we have got, this past week, we debuted 2 new shirts.
One personal is the infant in the beanbag chair.
Yep, infant lying in a beanbag chair is one of my favorite shirts we've ever done because it is so implicit as opposed to explicit.
Right.
It is.
Like I said, I can say the word fuck, but I hate.
Yeah.
You never wear the shirt that says fuck.
No.
So one's innocent enough to where if you listen to the show.
Yeah, and we want to see that. And when everybody,
thank you to everybody who's bought a shirt. By the way, we've been doing pretty good over there. WrestlingTees.com/Mind of the Meanie. Thank you to everybody.
Yeah, and we know this is a tough time too financially for people. So the fact that they're spending money on our shirts is pretty incredible.
And everything goes back into the show, which helps us pay for the website, the feeds,
the cable to hardwire your laptop.
That I couldn't figure out how to. I botched that spot. But yeah, like every piece of merchandise you buy from prowrestlingtees.com/Mind of the Meanie goes right back into the show. It's not going to us, and we're not living high off the hog. We're trying to make the show a little bit better.
Every little thing that we can do to kind of whether it's audio or any more t-shirt designs and things like that, we're trying to just continue to expand it. We do have some plans once the world kind of gets back to normal to kind of start doing more fun interactive things and that's all part of it. But yeah, another shirt that came out was based off of last week's episode where you enjoyed that cup of Joe and got me drinking coffee this episode. And yeah, man, which got me drinking coffee during the episode. I drink like 6 cups a day. I don't want to make it. I don't want to put that my impending heart attack on you, but
yeah, I drink 6 pots of coffee.
Dude, I was drinking the other day. I had, I guess it was like 2 12-ounce cups of coffee, and then I was like, I should calm down. I had like an 8-ounce cup of coffee, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna grab a workout. let me make a pre-workout with NO Explode. And I did that, and man, I thought my heart was going to explode. Like, it was just too much at that point. And
have you ever done the prison pre-workout?
No.
Where you get Coke Zero, a little bit of Coke Zero in a cup, get a couple scoops of. Please don't do this at home. I'm covering my I'm covering my tracks here. Please don't do this at home. Coke Zero, a couple scoops of instant coffee in there, swirl up and drink it.
Wow.
And run through a brick wall.
Wow. Yeah, definitely don't do that at home. But if you would like to wear a shirt that has a cup of coffee on it, you can go to prowrestlingtees.com/mind of the meanie. We have the new meanie coffee. Have a sip for the apocalypse. That's what it says on it. Have a sip for the apocalypse.
That's the equivalent of us pouring out a 40 for our dead homies.
Yeah,
so
it's
like,
just
have a sip for the apocalypse.
Yeah, because you need to wake up bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready to do nothing because it's the apocalypse and you can't do anything. But we've had our coffee, and that's why this show is just straight up off the rails.
I've just had my first cup, and I'm jonesing for another one.
Yeah, I'm drinking slowly to really just enjoy this. This is my third cup of coffee for the day. If you, where were we? Oh, right, we were plugging our merchandise.
Pro Wrestling Tees.
Hey, while you're at Pro Wrestling
Hopefully
Tees,
the song doesn't run out in the background.
Yeah,
there.
we're gonna re-loop it like 6 times. As you're at Pro Wrestling Tees enjoying all of the Mind of the Meanie t-shirts, and you're putting those in your cart, make sure that you go over to prowrestlingtees.com/Blue Meanie to get some Blue Meanie and BWO shirts. And of course, the whole thing that beautifully segued into this was talking about Mrs. Meanie, and she is responsible for a number of the t-shirts over there.
Absolutely, she designed the Hello Meanie shirt, which is a parody of Hello Kitty, and it's winking and nod, a nice little tribute to my mom who loved Hello Kitty. She also designed the Pro Wrestling Exists Outside Your TV shirt, because she would we'd be out in the public and people would be like, hey, Blue Meanie, why'd you retire? It's like, well, because I'm not on TV right now. Doesn't mean I retired.
Yeah.
Wrestling exists outside the TV. It's not just on TV. It's everywhere. My saying is, like, if Robert De Niro stopped doing movies and started doing Broadway, doesn't mean he retired as an actor. I'm just doing the indies.
Just means I'm buying a ticket to Broadway.
Yes. So, pro wrestling exists outside your television. So that's another one of my favorite t-shirts over there at prowrestlingtees.com/Blue Meanie, along with the BWO shirt and the newly submitted Blue Meanie traditional tattoo shirt done by Fredward, a.k.a. Fred Lancello, over at Street Road Tattoos in Ben Salem. I gave him a shout out last week, and he was so taken aback that I even gave him a shout out, even though he's like one of my best friends. He's in the apocalypse too, and he's trying to keep fresh with his skills, and he designed up really cool t-shirt design for me and the Pro Wrestling Tees store. So
and it was awesome.
Fred's a great guy, man. He's a great tattoo artist, great artist in general, and that's my latest addition to prowrestlingtees.com/Blue Meanie.
And I should let you know that my brother Fred, after listening to last week's episode, says it's cool. He said, Meanie, we don't have any heat. He still loves the Blue Meanie. Your posters are back up. He taped them back together. They're on the wall. He's back to being a huge fan of the Blue Meanie. So all is well with that. But no, awesome shirt that you had over there with it's like the classic tattoo, which is just really cool. You can also go to Collar and Elbow for the wrestling brand. It is collarandelbowbrand.com. Use promo code Meanie and you can save 10%. We talked about the BWO shirts available prowrestlingtees.com/Blue Meanie, but the BWO has taken over Collar and Elbow as well. Awesome shirt.
And gladly I took over the offices of Collar and Elbow, where Al Snow and Rod Hicks over there at Collar and Elbow.
I'll give you one guess of how the BWO was able to get them out of the office to take over.
I ran a hose underneath the door, and yeah.
Yep. But yeah, definitely
Well,
know that they've got awesome shirts over there. Collar and elbow, we put them over big and rightfully so. And then I'm going to, I always kind of downplay it because it feels a little weird to tell people to go to so-says-Shernoff.com for my merch. But I'm not gonna downplay it this time.
It's your show too, man. It's your show too.
Yeah, man. Hey, you know what? If you guys want to check out all of the cool merchandise, if you've ever said to yourself, you know what I need? I need a t-shirt that depicts the old WWF ice cream bars, but I wish it had Josh Shernoff on it. Well, we've got you covered. And if you're thinking to yourself, a t-shirt's not enough, I'd love to lay out on a beach towel with that same logo. We've got you covered for that as well. T-shirts, mugs, we got some fun things. You can get a t-shirt. One says it's a work, one says it's a shoot. So whatever you're feeling like.
Whatever side of the fence or whatever. My favorite shirt is sarcasm.
Sarcasm is my superpower. That's our top seller.
That's a great shirt. That's not even wrestling related. That's just like our "Don't Back Me" shirt.
Yeah.
It could translate to anybody.
Yeah, so you can go to so-says-Shernoff.com. I also have a Pro Wrestling Tees store, prowrestlingtees.com/so-says-Shernoff, but we have more stuff actually over at so-says-Shernoff.com, because if you're at Pro Wrestling Tees, make sure you're going to Mind of the Meanie and Blue Meanie. That's it. We've got so many shirts. Just get whatever you want. Don't get whatever you don't want, and have some fun. Enjoy it. We appreciate you supporting us and supporting the show. And again, we are incredibly flattered anytime someone would buy a shirt that, we kind of dreamt up, but especially during times like this when we know money is tight. It means the world to us. And we hope that we are doing a good job of kind of giving back to you in the quality of the podcast. Back to whatever the hell we were talking about beforehand.
And also shout out to Pro Wrestling Tees, because they have their own podcast, which I will be on soon. So not only do they give quality t-shirts, they have a quality podcast, and I'm gonna. They take care of us. They done so much good stuff for the wrestlers and the wrestling community to help guys survive in these times. Yeah. We don't know when. We don't know when there's going to be wrestling again.
Pro Wrestling Tees is responsible for the indie wrestlers making money right now is through Pro Wrestling Tees. They're not booked anywhere. Yeah. So this is, it's really cool what they're doing there. Support your
shout out to Collar and Elbow too, because they give their wrestlers promo codes, and that stuff gets kicked back to the person who used promo code Meanie. I get a little bit of kickback, and that.
Are you supposed to say it's a kickback?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm one of their sponsored athletes, so quote unquote athlete.
Hey, but I can't do a meanie salt, and I don't think a lot of people listening to this could do one. So
yeah, but dude, I love both companies equally. There's great people behind the scenes. So not only supporting quality merchandise, you're supporting quality people.
Yes. See any good documentaries lately?
Dude, yeah. Oh my God, have you seen the Chicago Bulls documentary?
So I've only seen the first part. I'm way behind. But
I think it's up to episode 4.
I thought it was actually even more than that.
Well, it's a 10-part series.
It was up to 6, but maybe it's just 4. Yeah. Okay, so I'm not as far behind as I thought I was, but awesome.
Yeah, it's a 10-part series, and they release 2 episodes a night, like each week. Mm-hmm. I guess publicly it's up to 4. We know they filmed 10, but it is such a fascinating watch because it's just like a timestamp of the. I always say I'm an '80s child, but I love the '90s just as much. And that whole run with the Bulls had. I'm a Philadelphia fan through and through, 4 for 4. But there's no denying how good that Bulls team was.
Yeah, they transcended the especially Michael Jordan. Just transcended the local fanship, if you will, right? Like Michael Jordan was a guy that you didn't have to be a Bulls fan, then when you put on top of that the rest of the team around him during that run, it was just, yeah. I mean, if you weren't enjoying and watching the Bulls, I mean, I guess you were hating it if they were destroying your team on that one night, but the rest of the time, yeah, man, they were.
But like just to say, like, you know, the '90s seemed like yesterday. You know, just watching it, and like the cool thing about it is the Bulls and Michael Jordan gave this documentary crew unlimited access for that last year.
Yeah.
The documentary focuses on the last year. That's why it's called The Last Dance.
Mm-hmm.
And they were going to get rid of the coach, Phil Jackson. There's like butting heads between Phil and the GM.
Mm-hmm.
So he dubbed that last season The Last Dance. But just like why I try to do with mine and DeMeanie, where I'll tell a story, but I have to give it a lot of sidebars. There's so many different sidebars in here where they go back to, you know, Jordan, you know, starting in '84, which you think of him in the '90s, you forget he played in the '80s,
right?
And all the way up to his last year. And so far, it's up to episode 4, and they're up to he had with the Detroit Pistons and Michael Jordan's, you know, disdain for Isaiah Thomas, and it's like there's a lot of things. Michael Jordan has been like this iconic figure where he's like his own brand. He's his own Ronald McDonald. He's his own, you know, whatever character, you know. He's been clean cut. You see him in the I Like Mike commercials for Gatorade. You see him, you know, selling sneakers. You see him selling whatever. And then I see him and hear him say the word fuck. And I'm just like,
right.
Michael Jordan just said fuck. It's like, I curse like a sailor in my off time, but just to hear somebody who I've never really heard swear, like kind of made him more human.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, hey,
it's interesting because the time period, like talking about the '90s, like a lot of what the documentary, even just from just seeing the little bit that I've seen so far, a lot of what the documentary is doing is it's kind of shining a light on if all of this was happening now, we'd know a lot of things. You're talking about like his fuse and stuff. Like we didn't have the internet, you know, in the early '90s, we didn't have social media. So there wasn't like people weren't beefing with each other on Twitter. It wasn't, you know, and so you're kind of getting these behind the scenes stories that maybe, you know, you heard, maybe was alluded to here or there, but now you're like getting real, and not just like the fights and stuff like that, but just in general, just everything. Now we've got, you know, 24/7 news on sports. I mean, there's nothing being hidden in sports, in entertainment, I guess in sports entertainment, there's nothing being hidden. So it's so cool to have something from a time period that feels like, as you said, it feels like yesterday, but really it was from a time when we didn't have that access to all of this information.
And there was a lot of stuff like behind the scenes I never knew with like, you know, Pippen protesting that last season.
Yeah.
And who knew he was that grossly underpaid? Like he had signed a deal for like 7 years. I forget what the money is, but like you're like, oh my God. You know, Scottie Pippen was part of that great run, and
you just assume I mean, I don't think anyone assumed that he was up there with what Jordan was making.
Right. Jordan's on. There's Jordan, and then there's everybody else.
But you assumed that he was on that next everybody else. Like he was, you know, and yeah. So it's like I said, I need to watch more of it. I'll watch it tonight. That's what I'm gonna watch.
Dude, it's a fantastic watch. They just announced that. I mean, it's coming out in bits and pieces now,
right?
But eventually in July, they're going to have the whole thing up on Netflix, which is even better.
So just binge through. Yeah. That's my problem. If I can't binge through something, it takes a while for me to get back to it because, you know, something else.
Yeah.
You know, Mrs. Meanie was talking about ADD, dude. I just, you know, the wind blows a certain way and I get distracted. So,
dude, I got the attention span of a goldfish. So if I can't binge it, like, it's a little bit of a struggle to watch this in real time. But then you got everybody like this is like one of the you know, besides Tiger King or whatever. This is like right now. Tiger King, everybody's on binge watching that. Everybody should be binge watching McMillions too on HBO and Hulu. But right now, like everybody's on social media talking about this Bulls documentary that you can't really avoid it. So I'm watching along with everybody else because, you know, spoiler, they win. but there's like all that behind the scenes
Like the Bulls
stuff.
won?
I know, shocker, right?
You mean
But,
like a game, right? Not any. They never won anything big, I don't think.
Nah,
No.
it's some regional stuff. No, dude.
Speaking of regional, that was one thing that I loved. And I actually saw it online before I even watched the thing, but I thought it was fantastic. And I get the point behind it, but like, so they had Barack Obama on there, and it's former Chicago resident. Like that's Barack Obama, and they had the same thing.
Who did he ever beat?
Right, yeah, and they had which is a shirt over at Collar and Elbow. Use promo code Meanie. It is. I love that that's a shirt. But no, and then they had Clinton on there too. But they're just talking about when he was governor. I think it was like and which I get because they were trying to put the focus on that he was there during the time, during a certain time period, and
right. They weren't getting political about it. He just.
But I just thought it was funny.
Famous person, a couple of famous people who lived in that era around that time.
But it's just kind of funny. It's like, what do you like? These guys are former presidents.
Doesn't say president.
Doesn't say president.
This former Chicago resident,
Barack Obama, man who once ate a sandwich at the corner shop. Like it was ridiculous. Right. But no, really cool.
Nonchalant.
Yeah. How about someone we haven't talked about in a few weeks? Dark Side of the Ring. They've had. I'm all caught up on that now.
The latest one with Dr. D. David Schultz.
Yeah, what'd you think of that?
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that being a kid growing up in that era, before you were born, it was really cool to relive that, and in an age where everybody knows everything. There's just like the Bulls documentary, there's a lot of stuff behind the scene stuff I didn't know. Mm-hmm. I just knew of the slap.
Right.
You know about the slap and stuff like that. And then, I mean, who knew that, like, right after that slap, he was going out to the ring to wrestle Antonio Inoki in Madison Square Garden.
I know, that I never knew. That was, like, crazy to
That was insane.
And then, what do you think about the fact that, like, John Stossel, like, he basically, after everything, he doesn't like anyone being bullshitted. He doesn't like anything fake. And then he all but just admitted that he was working everybody just to get paid.
Yeah.
His pain went away as soon as he got paid. And it's like, well, dude, come on, don't. And I'm supposed to believe that any of his reports that he did on 2020, that nothing was ever enhanced. We'll say, right?
Right.
We know that doesn't happen in the news, that anything's ever enhanced for to get people to tune in.
Yeah, that's why I avoid the news like the plague. Yeah. I mean, I dribs and drabs, but if it's like that Tom Petty song, "You're Jamming Me," man. The John Stossel thing, and the one thing that I didn't even find out until after the documentary. Shout out to Jim Malino. He put it over on Twitter saying that John Stossel's doctor was a relative, the one who said John Stossel said he was losing his hearing, and the doctor who
confirmed that, I guess,
diagnosed him was a relative, which I didn't even know.
Wow. That's
talk
about kickbacks.
Yes,
yeah.
And
not that Meanie would ever accept a kickback. If I'm not entirely sure, I just don't want to say anything that's gonna get you in trouble here.
No. I'm on the level.
Yeah.
Wink.
Yeah. You guys didn't hear that wink. You didn't see it. It was it's over the camera. So.
Yes.
What we're talking about.
But John Stossel, I mean, he went from being this sympathetic figure to, oh man, you don't hit another human being.
He was so whiny on it too.
I guess John Stossel doesn't own a TV, or he doesn't watch TV shows, or he doesn't go to the movies. Because all that's bullshit too. That's not real either.
That's what I couldn't understand. Why was he so offended by the fact that pro wrestling was being perceived to be real? Like, who was that? Like, honestly, who was that hurting?
Who was it hurt? Yeah.
Right. If anything, I mean, they talked about how later on, how Vince McMahon and admitting that it's sports entertainment and it's predetermined in this way for tax breaks. So if anything, that the professional wrestling promoters were being hurt by the fact that they were telling everyone it wasn't predetermined. I hate to say fake
Right.
because it's not fake. There's nothing
No.
fake about it. And I know people will then, they split hairs and go, well, it is, they're claiming that they're really trying to beat somebody and that's fake. It's like, okay, I get it. But the intention of it is like, don't say that it's physically, I mean, the thing these people put their bodies through and like, it's the same way, like Circus Soleil. Like nobody ever says that that's fake.
Right.
Like
it's like me and Mrs. Meanie were at a WrestleMania party. My buddy throws like the most amazing WrestleMania party. Some people go there because they're wrestling fans, and some people go there just because it's a party. And we're sitting there watching WrestleMania, and I'm sitting next to this guy, and he's like, "Oh, this is all fake." Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, kind of doing the, I was like, "Oh yeah, I mean, I wouldn't know. I didn't do it for 20 years."
Yeah.
I'm like throwing that little. And at one point, I had enough. I was like, dude, you must suck to go to the fucking movies with. Oh, the Terminator. That's really Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's not really a cyborg. I wanted to throw that motherfucker in the bonfire. I was just like fed up with it. Just we don't say, oh, it's not fake because we want people to believe what we're doing. It's fucking shit hurts.
Yeah.
It fucking hurts.
It does.
Even the simplest thing, the most simplest thing, hurts more than you would think. The harder.
Listen, but yeah, most of the time, and
it's insane.
And obviously, you can speak more to it than I can even. But there are things that fans will look at and they'll say, "Oh God, that must have really hurt." And if you've ever been in the business, you look at it and you go, "All right, now that one was fine. That one was protected. Yeah, it's going to hurt a little bit." And then there's things your fans are like, "Oh, that didn't look real," and you're like, that hurt more than anything. Like it's sometimes hard to tell what really, really hurts. But guess what? It all actually hurts. Like it's like even things like one of the best parts, like people never think about the ropes, especially when you first start training, your body eventually builds up a callus to it. But like those ropes, man, that hurts. And like,
especially the cable ropes, there's WWE uses real rope.
See, but I even
everybody else uses cable.
I even had with the real rope when I was down at OVW. We did I took a slingshot into the corner, and it was during training. I didn't have boots on. I think I had like wrestling shoes or something like that. And I landed in a way that I guess it was like rope burn or something, but it took a chunk out of the bottom rope. I hit my my shin on it, and it took like a chunk of my skin off just from hitting. And that was the last thing. And I had already been wrestling for a while. And the last thing I ever thought was like, oh man, if I hit the rope the wrong way, it's going to like rip my skin out. But yeah, man, it hurts.
And then there would be like times I come home from a match or after a match, if Mrs. Meanie comes to a show with me, she'll find like phantom bruises on me. Like, she'll point to it and go, "What's that?" I go, "I don't even know where that came from. Like, I don't remember."
And it could have.
I spotted.
Hold on.
From the crowd, he had a giant welt on his belly, a big red handprint. Ooh. This guy literally thumb wrestled. That was it. He locked up.
Me and my opponent do a thumb wrestling spot.
Yeah.
Like that.
He locked up, did a little dance, thumb wrestled. That was it. And I was like, "What is that? Why is that like that? No, who touched him?"
It was Meanie's pre-match ritual where he just smacks himself in the belly before he goes to the
like Kamala. Yeah. Like Kamala.
Oh!
Yep. Or somebody would. I hate when wrestlers wear that hot stuff.
Oh, because then when you're in the ring and it sweats off, it can get in your opponent's eyes.
Your eyes. Yeah, I'm pale Irish, so like if you touch me, I look like a game of what is that, Twister? It's like somebody's playing Twister on my body. There's like a handprint there. But like literally, Mrs. Meanie will find mystery bruises on me.
Well, you'll get,
and some are from the ropes where you hit the rope.
You'll get it on it like your underarm here. Sometimes I think it's if you ever get them like, oh, there you go, showing the guns. If you ever get it like sometimes, I had ones like on my like forearm at times where the only thing I could think of was being sent off the ropes. That like you don't realize sometimes how hard you're grabbing your opponent, even when you're working. When you're not stiffing them or anything like that, but even just pick them off, send them off the ropes. Like sometimes you're squeezing a little tighter, and sometimes I'll get like a bruise on my arm. And I say that like I'm still doing. I haven't wrestled in 11 years, but it's
you're better off. It doesn't feel any better.
No, I was gonna say. I think what happened was I stopped, and that callus went away. And I just,
Oh my God.
every
Yeah.
year that goes by, it's not healing. And sometimes people have said to me, like, now that I'm doing the interviewing stuff, people say like, oh,
Which hurts a lot
yeah,
less.
it does. And people will say to me like, oh, do you ever like get the itch to get back in, do something like that? And I'll tell you, I'll go to these shows and being removed from it enough, and not to sound like an old man, but I see some of these kids. Literally, I mean, these are people that are 15 years younger than me, or in in AEW,
Right.
and doing things that I never could do. And I'm just looking at it, I'm going, I don't have that itch at all. Like, I'm so happy with what I'm doing now, and lucky to be able to do what I do now. And,
when a guy like X-Pac, Sean Waltman, somebody's like, how do you think you would fare in today's climate? Is like, and he admits he probably couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
Somebody, every, decade, the athletes in this business get better and better. And, thank God I got over with the character I got over with, because like I'm like a cover band. I'm like my own cover band where I go to the ring and people expect the greatest hits.
Yeah.
It's like if you go to see the band The Eagles, you don't play Hotel California.
Well, that's it. Like, you're not like a cover band. You're like a nostalgia act. And that's good. And that can sometimes have like a negative.
Fine by me.
I was gonna say they can sometimes have a negative connotation to it. But did I say condensation? Condentation. I don't know what I don't know what
condensation. It's the
There's
apocalypse.
a negative condensation going on. No, but being a nostalgia act to me, who can't be a nostalgia act? I can't go out into the ring and I'm just gonna go do some of my high spots. People can go, the hell is this guy and what is he doing? Being a nostalgia act means that you paid your dues, you established yourself, and now people have such great memories of what you did at 20 year ago, that's all they want to see. No one wants to see you go out there and put on the greatest, 5-star flippity floppity, whatever. People want to see the meanie dance.
Exactly. And it's like, thank God for like YouTube and being on the WWE network, and have a alumni page on their website where people go see clips and stuff like that. Like walk around the streets of South Philly, it's like kind of like Rocky minus all the running. And then people go, hey, Blue Meanie, and somebody like once a year I've done a charity wrestling show that raises money for the local Little League federations or whatever.
The Little League Federation.
The Little League Federation. But like all these little kids that would see me on the show would go and look me up on YouTube and be like, oh my God, you wrestled Matt Hardy? You wrestled Jeff Hardy? All that stuff. So getting back to the point, like where, like if I go out there now and try to do anything else, people will start yelling, "Hands off!" And fine by me, because that hurts a lot.
And that's what I'm saying. And
I've tried to have serious matches, and people don't want to see me. They want to see me be the Blue Meanie that they saw in ECW, WWE, all that good stuff. And I'm happy to oblige them.
Yeah,
because that's what I'm there for. I'm there. In between like all this stuff where people are either doing whatever hardcore stuff or whatever cruiserweight stuff. I come out. I'm the levity.
And that's a great spot to be in. And like we talked about,
I'm very fortunate.
Yeah, and I'm not just blowing smoke. And that I wasn't saying the nostalgia act in a negative way. I think being a nostalgia act shows longevity to your career. Not everyone has the ability to be like Chris Jericho, who just can continuously be a brand new Chris Jericho all the time. I mean, there's a reason.
Jericho's the man.
Jericho, honestly, I
love Chris Jericho.
He's awesome, and there's a reason why he's held in such high regard for being able to reinvent himself, because it's not something that's easy to do and that everyone can do. And but no, man, I mean, I think you should be satisfied with your career and your standing for sure.
Brother, I have no complaints.
Do you still?
When I
I'm sorry. No, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, when I reflect back, there's things I wish I would have. Like I think I've talked about how I wish I would have, approached JR about maybe doing stuff.
The commentary.
Yeah, I would love to have gotten in on the commentary side or just something in the business. Yeah. But or now I'd love to be a producer and stuff like that. But you always look back. You go, I could have done this a little bit better. That's why I don't really watch my matches or promos or interviews or stuff like that because I'll just think of something and just
Right.
Chris Farley myself and be like, "You're so stupid! Oh, you're so dumb!" and stuff like that. But no, really, I have no complaints. I'm in a good spot.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've always found exciting to watch your character was that how can I put this? You knew what you were going to get. And then when you would do things like the meanie salt, like you could get like extra excited because I would always look at that and say, like, here's the Blue Meanie doing the dance off, doing this stuff. And then you go to the top and I was always like, the dude was over before he did that. Didn't even have to do that. And that was always like that extra thing. So yeah, I think
well, the meanie salt got me booked, so thank God for that.
Yeah.
Thank God for guys like Bam Bam Bigelow and Vader and Bill DeMott and the Headhunters who are all inspired me to be a big guy doing a moonsault because it got me noticed for ECW.
Yeah.
And I think I missed more than I ever hit, which is fine by me because
isn't that easier?
yeah. You know what? When you miss it, you can just go gung ho and you can just make it look prettier. Where I know I'm hitting it, I know I got to be a little bit more precise. Yeah. Dude, my first time I did a meanie salt in Reading, Pennsylvania. My first couple months in the business, it was Raven, Sandman, whatever. Me and Stevie are on the outside doing our chicanery. And I think Stevie did something to Sandman and set him up for the meanie salt, and I was supposed to hit the meanie salt. So I'm climbing up to the top rope to do the meanie salt. And right before I do the meanie salt, I look back through my legs to see where he's at. So whether I know I could go straight back or if I have to go a little bit to the left, the moonsault's all about your chin and your hips. Point your chin where you want to go, your hips get you over. So I know, like, if he's this way, point my chin that way. If he's this way, point my chin that way. Well, I look through my legs, and he is out way too far. I'm like, holy shit. And, like, I put my hand between my legs, like bring him, like this. Hey, try and, tell Stevie, scoot him, bring him closer to the corner. And it was like, you can't come down and replace him and stuff like that because, like that kills the whole momentum of the match. So I did like the sign of the cross, and I fucking jumped, and I got a photo of it somewhere. I have to dig it up. All knees to the Sandman's ribs, and the photo just looks painful, like just a still photo. You go, oh, But
what was his feeling on that afterwards?
Well, he didn't, to the Sandman's, he didn't really say anything. He didn't complain. He went, dude, you crushed me. But, like, I got more heat from his then wife, Peaches, Lori Fullington. She was like, I hate you. You hurt him. And she's looking at me. I'm like, oh, shit. But trust me, when I say the Sandman got his fucking whole roll of receipt paper on my ass, like when it came to receipts, he used the whole roll, went, emptied out the printer, got another roll of receipt paper, and printed a whole new cycle of fucking receipts on me when it came to the caning me with that stick. Because that's another thing that pisses me off when people say it's fake. That's the Singapore cane. Like, Sandman would hit me dead. Mm-hmm. Here's a secret to the Singapore cane: the lower to the handle, the safer. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying this for people to go out there.
So go out and get. So what Meanie is saying is go out and get yourself a Singapore cane.
This is more because I flinch when I see, like, if you're a young wrestler in the business and you're using a Singapore cane, and if you're taking a cane shot, always try to get closer to your opponent because the closer to the handle you're on a Singapore cane, the more give it has.
It's the wider part. It's not as
If it bends, if you get hit with the absolute top. The end of that Singapore cane, it's like a Louisville Slugger because it has nowhere to go. But if you get hit closer to the handle, it hits you and it bends over you. And there's been plenty of night where Sandman would hit me with the cane, and you can see this on some of his cane shots with Tommy Dreamer. It'll hit him in the forehead, it'll wrap over the head and get you in the back where, like, he's ripped skin off my back with that thing. And you don't feel until you go back and take a shower, and you're like, oh, in the soap pits.
I'll tell you, he I was only in the ring with him one time, and we had a spot at the end where I was going to go in. I wasn't in the match, but I was doing like a run in. And I'm going to come in and start arguing with someone else. And then all of a sudden it's the whole, like, I do the back up, and then I realize someone's behind me, do the slow turn around, and he cracks me with the cane.
Right.
And he's like going like in the back, and he's like, kind of just like, yeah, it's just going to kind of just take this back in 2002. So I was relatively young to the business and stuff still. And for whatever reason, I think, again, we've talked in the past about being respectful. And I think because I was so respectful to him, it's the only thing I can think of. The whole plan was, I'm going to turn around and he's going to crack me with it. I turn around, he boots me in the stomach. I go down, he cracks me on the back. I'm wearing a shirt and everything, cracks me in the back. I mean, it didn't feel like a back rub, but it was not what I was what I had prepared myself to take. And so I, afterwards, I was just like, thank you, thank you very much. And he's like, yeah. And it's funny, not that, and if he's listening to this, please don't hit me with a cane. But there was that part of me.
If we're not on the History Channel, he's not. Okay, so we're good.
But there was that part of me that was almost like, afterwards. At first, I was like, oh, that was a relief, and then I was like, that's kind of a badge of honor I was looking forward to wearing. Like I got cracked in the head by Sam. But he was super cool about it. But no, I mean, and that's the thing. Like that dude knew that. What that taught me was that guy knew he could either hurt you or he could just give you a little. I guess we'll say a working cane shot, but.
Well, there would be times where me, Stevie Nova, would have contests to see who can get to the cane and loosen it the fuck up. Because on those Singapore canes, there's like these little red strings.
Mm-hmm.
And depending if he liked you or if he didn't like you, he would adjust those strings. So we're in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. And I think it's Raven. Well, it's got to be Raven and Sandman. Or that's why we're at ringside. But they go out into the crowd to brawl around, and Sandman left his cane fell on the apron. So like a couple of idiots, Nova goes over, throws his superhero cape over the cane, and I go underneath the cane, underneath his fucking cape, like nobody can see this. It's like a cat. Like if a cat turns his back to you, he thinks you disappear behind him, So I'm underneath there. I got a little fucking razor blade. I go underneath there. We all cut the red strings off his Singapore cane. It's like Mission Impossible. You're like, dun, 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 dun. Because all the attention's on the crowd. So I slide underneath, we gimmick it, and then we like leave it alone. And then he comes in, and we feed him. There's always part of the match where Raven would take a bump, and then we'd feed him for a couple shots. And he hit us, and the cane was so loose because we got the strings off. I almost forgot to sell. Like he hit me, I went, sorry, sorry.
Well, maybe, you know what? Maybe by the time, maybe I thought I was being respectful, or whatever. There's always the good chance that A, he forgot he was supposed to hit me in the head and just kicked me in the stomach for whatever reason, or B, maybe the cane was loose and he actually meant to hit me really hard with it. And I don't know. But
also it goes back to that thing of call it in the ring, and like I tell these kids, like, if you plan something in the back, and if it doesn't happen, don't force it. Take this spot, put it in your back pocket, and save it for the next match. So he was out there. He was probably just feeling it.
Yeah.
He's going by feel. He's like, fuck it, let me kick it.
No, but it was
I mean, he like Sandman like calls a lot of the match in the back, but if it's not there,
like I said, I was a run-in, so I don't know what happened. But during that,
plus he's drunk.
Yeah, right. He definitely had something to drink before he was out there. That locker room, he was just, man. I had never seen somebody down that many drinks and then go out and have. I think he had like close to
beers or Long Island.
No, it was just beer.
He also likes He also likes Long Island iced tea.
No, it was. Well, look. I mean, I wasn't just staring at him watching what he was drinking, but I do remember him having a number of six packs sitting at his feet. So
My favorite thing to do for the Sandman is I'll go up to him. I'll sing the opening to the song Baker Street.
Yeah.
Wind on your way on the Baker Street. By Jerry Rafferty. Foo Fighters did an amazing cover. And I'll do that. I'll stand I'm casually standing next to him. Let's a couple guys say, wind on your way down the bay. And Sandman has to finish the song. It's like if you ever heard the song Baker Street, which is one of my favorite songs ever because it reminds me of my childhood. Grew up in Atlantic City. It was always on the boardwalk, and you hear music in the air. Takes me back to this time and place. The song Baker Street. But one time I heard Sandman sing it, and I was like, "Oh, he knows Baker Street." So I would randomly just stand next to him. Winding your way down the Baker, like I'm not intentionally trying to poison his mind. And he would go, he would have to finish the song. Hilarious. And the point, there's a saxophone solo in there, and I'll come in and go, kind of, improv with them and stuff like that. But it's just one of the funny things in ECW I used to like to do to fucking pass the time. Just stupid shit. That I'm amusing a party of me, right. And
if you can pop yourself, that's all that really matters, right?
Oh yeah. There's so many cool spots, shit like that in ECW where I'm going up to Sandman and tricking him. I'm Jedi mind tricking him into singing Baker Street. Or one time we're in Trent, New Jersey, and I went to the bathroom and come out, and there's a dressing room, locker room. It's like a concert venue. So there's a dressing room, and I hear this commotion in the locker room. I come out, and Beulah McGillicuddy and Louis Spicolli are leading the locker room in the sing-along of Summer Loving from Grease.
Wow.
Beulah's singing the Olivia Newton-John parts, and Louis singing the John Travolta parts.
That's amazing.
And there's that point where he goes, who? And you see Big Dick Dudley and all the guys going, who? Tell me more. And she, Beulah would do the woman part, Olivia Newton-John part, and Louis Spicolli would do the John Travolta part, and they go back and forth with that.
That's amazing.
Or one time we're at a show in, I want to say Bristol, and there's a nightclub, and every night they bring about a trash can full of plunder back for New Jack to use, and there's a guitar there. And shout out to Donnie Allen, who not only is a wrestler but is a really good musician, singer, songwriter. He picks up the guitar, one of the guitars in the trash cans, just starts strumming. It's me, Donnie Allen, I want to say Beulah and Francine, and I just I don't know why I brought it up. We start singing the I can't think of it, John Two-Tone or the Jenny song, 867-530. I'm trying to think of the singer's name. It's Tommy Two-Tone. But I start doing it, and then I start singing 867, and then Donnie Allen sits there because he's a musician. And he computes in his head how to play that on guitar, and he starts.
Yeah, Tommy Two-Tone.
Tommy Two-Tone. He starts playing it. And then, me, Beulah, Francine start singing, 8, 6, we start singing the song. It's just the soundtrack of ECW. It's if the fans could see us now, they'd be awfully disappointed.
Yeah, right.
Just.
Hey, but you know what? Talking about fans seeing your stuff from back in the day, that brings us seamlessly into talking about our sponsor this week. He's back again, SOSCustomNetwork.com. They are sponsoring this show for a second week in a row. We really appreciate that. Awesome. We want to tell you just a little bit about what you can find at SOSCustomNetwork.com. You can view some of the best independent wrestling from the Carolinas and beyond, and witness wrestlers such as CM Punk, Colt Cabana, the SATs, and the Blue Guy himself, the Blue Meanie, maybe not before the Blue Meanie was a star, because he's been a star for a very, very long time, but some of those other guys before they were stars.
That's why I hired
you. Relive the unforgettable moments made by true stars of the professional wrestling business. ECW icon, the Sandman, who we were just talking about. WWE Hall of Famers, the Rock and Roll Express, the Blue Meanie, so many more. It's original programming like interviews, commentary, professional match critiques, and professionals and deep dives into the inner workings of an indie promotion from the professionals who've done it. So that's really cool. Good insight into the business. We know our fans here on Mind of the Meanie love insight into the business. That's why you're here. There's over 500 hours of wrestling content for only $4.99 a month. Meanie, that you can't really beat that.
No, dude, I can easily do $5 a day just in coffee. Speaking of, having a sip of coffee, I easily spend more than $5 a day just on lunch, when it went before the apocalypse. Now, not so much, but $5 is nothing. I mean, when it comes to the quality of entertainment and content is the word I was looking for. That's
500 hours of wrestling content.
Shout out to Boomer F and Payne there for
just getting that
man.
together.
That guy's a hardworking dude. I've known him forever from our days wrestling for Norm Connors out in Pittsburgh. Guys down in the Carolinas. Now he's got this great network of entertainment. I mean, people go, there's nothing to watch. Yes, there's nothing to watch. $5, you can watch 500 hours of some of the legends like the Rock and Roll Express, CM Punk, and all them. When they were working their way up before WWE and stuff like that. So there's so much out there to watch on the SOS.
And I've got fantastic news for the listeners of the Mind of the Meanie podcast, because if $4.99 felt like just a little too much for you, which A, it's not, but B, hey, it's tough times right now. It's not for us to judge. We're here to help you out, because if you go right now and you put in the promo code Meanie at checkout, you will get 40% off for your first month subscription. And that is, oh, that's right, Meanie, 40% off, which I have finally found out is $2.99 instead of $4.99. So
that's the high quality content we give you here at Mind of the Meanie. We give you math.
We give you math. Simple math that, in fairness, I asked someone about and didn't actually even do the math myself. So in case that's wrong, it's not my fault. You can support indie wrestling and the Mind of the Meanie podcast by going to SOSCustomNetwork.com. Find them on social media. Twitter is at SOS Custom WN. Facebook is SOS Custom Wrestling Network. And of course, again, the website is www.soscustomnetwork.com. We thank them so much for sponsoring the Mind of the Meanie. Again, we cannot recommend it enough. Awesome content on SOSCustomNetwork.com. Promo code Meanie, save yourself 40%.
And again, shout out to Boomer, who's a good dude. Wrestled him. I'm happy for him. He's doing good stuff. I mean, this is like post ad, but this is me just speaking from the heart. It takes a lot to sponsor us in times like this, where people don't know where their next paycheck's coming from. So anybody who's sponsoring us with an ad on a show, whether they're helping our sponsors with SOS and or doing everything's appreciated.
And I mean, and that's something too. You look at our sponsors that we've had. We've been very lucky to have. And like you said, this isn't part of the ad. This is us, I guess, maybe kissing up to them. But I truly believe this.
It does mean a lot. It means a lot.
What is this? This is our 6th episode. So while we have been very grateful to have a lot of success from this, people seem to really enjoy it, and the word of mouth is out there, and more downloads every week. Which again, thank you so much for that. But from an ad standpoint, we had people who advertised with us from the first episode all the way now to the 6th episode. That's not a lot. We haven't been on for that long. This isn't these are people who truly believed in what it was that we were trying to do, who listened to the show and said, hey, I think this is going to be really good. I think people are going to enjoy this. I enjoy it. And they've decided to advertise with us. And that means a lot. So, obviously we're big fans of everybody who's advertised for us. But we encourage you to go check them out. And again, it's SOS Custom Network. Check it out. It's you're signing up for a month for $2.99, 500 hours of content. Just give it a shot. Tell us what you love about it, and spread the word.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I was thinking at this point, maybe we should dive into a little AMA, little Ask Meanie Anything. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, why not,
Yeah,
man?
we got some.
I'm ready. And I'll say this before you get to the first question. You bring up the first question while I have to say this is like I really enjoy the AMAs because again, there's a lot of things I forget about,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of things you probably forget about too. And the fans sending in these questions, they can ask something from a perspective I totally forgot about. So this is probably one of my favorite, parts of the show is to be interactive and answer the fans' questions and hopefully go into a little bit of a deep dive with these answers. So
Let's
let's
see what
roll.
we've got. We're gonna kick things off right now. This one was actually emailed, sent us.
Which you can
Yeah, you
do.
can
Which you can do.
email to mindofthemeanie@gmail.com. This was emailed to us by an Andrew Ridner. I hope I said your name
Okay.
right there. He said, "This is actually to both of us, Meanie, which is cool. Somebody
Yeah.
actually cares what, what I have to say here. Hey, Meanie and Josh. Obviously, you're both fans of pro wrestling, and I'm assuming you both dabbled in tape trading back in the day. What were your personal
Absolutely.
holy grails of your collections? Also, did you ever experience receiving a tape you were really looking forward to watching, only for it to be ruined due to generation loss? Have a nice day." So,
Wow. Yeah, man, I was heavily into the tape trading era. There were so many people out there to trade with back in the day, and this is again pre-internet and stuff like that. And thank God for newsletters like Meltzer's or Wade Keller. Shout out to Wade Keller. Everybody gives Meltzer love. Wade Keller's a
yeah.
good dude too. Where they would have like pen pal sections or like a bulletin board or hey, so and so in Ohio is looking for this or that. And there was this one guy back in the day. Well, he's still around. Steve Friedlander. He had like the ultimate tape list. Like his list, and this is before again the internet. You would look up the thing in the
Mm-hmm.
newsletter. You'd write a letter. Hey, I want your catalog. They either send it to you or you send a couple bucks because Steve Friedlander's catalog was like the yellow pages. It was like that thick, like yellow and white pages combined for like a major metropolitan city. I'm surprised he didn't give like the mailman a hunch back just because this thing was huge. So like I would I send out for Steve Friedlander's list, come back and I would read it like just like I was reading a novel and like you're that was the beauty of tape trading back then is like you didn't have YouTube or anything like this. So you see a matchup and theater to mind, you can only imagine how great it
Mm-hmm.
was, you know. And I'm looking, and to get back to his question, is like I was looking through the Steve Freelander list, and he had like Kevin Von Erich wrestling in Madison Square Garden against like maybe Jose Estrada or something like that, one of the local New York guys. I was like, oh my god, Kevin Von Erich wrestled in Madison Square Garden, and so I either bought the tape outright or I ordered. Like some guys would do a custom tape too. You go, hey, this match, blah 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 blah, and I ordered it, and it was awesome to see. Back then, see Kevin Von Erich not only wrestle in Madison Square Garden, but he was wearing boots. This is like before Kevin started wrestling
Yeah.
barefoot, which we see now with Matt Riddle, because Matt is to me is like I always remember him that he's like a lost Von Erich or something like that, But he's built like Kerry, wrestled barefoot like Kevin, but yeah, I don't know if I was just. It was definitely fascinating to watch, but like you could tell it had been, people nowadays who aren't familiar with VHS, you record one tape to another tape.
Right.
There's a little bit of quality lost, and then that person subs from that second tape to a third tape. And by the time you get the match, it looks like they're wrestling in a snowstorm.
Yeah.
It looks like they're in a blizzard.
So,
And there's a little bit of quality loss with
Mhm.
that one, and like I said, I don't people are like snobs like when it comes to like video or music. Oh, I only listen to music that's in FLAC and not MP3. Dude, I used to scan the cable networks and I would put on the dirty channels and hit the AB button on the remote and I would get scrambled porn and I didn't give a shit. I was like, titty's a titty, whether it's a green titty or a regular titty, and there's sound. And I heard sound. So teenage me. So you're sending me this tape from Madison Square Garden and Kevin Van Erich. They look like they're wrestling in a blizzard. It was the greatest thing in the world to me because I knew nothing else.
It's amazing that you're saying that, because that was when I read this, that was one of the first things that came to mind. Was I used to, when In Your House started and it became a pay-per-view every month, that became kind of challenging, even though it was cheaper, to convince my parents every month, hey, can I get another pay-per-view? It's like, because you have to remember, there's also WCW going on. So they started like, the hell do you need so many of these pay-per-views? So there were times, one that jumps out at me specifically was In Your House to Generation X. And I watched it just scrambled because they didn't, nowadays everything's digital. So your pay-per-view would be just like a blue screen, or it would just say, not available and tell you how to order. But back then it was just static and you'd watch it, but the audio was perfect. There was just the video that you couldn't see. And I remember another time,
I equated it to like listening to a baseball game on the radio. You're listening, you're not watching it, but you're listening. You're getting.
And that was when sometimes the commentating team, when you could really appreciate them. There was also a time, I want to say it was SummerSlam. Was it '94? Maybe it was Razor Ramon and Ted DiBiase were the opening match. It was DiBiase's last match with WWF.
Right.
And I watched that SummerSlam at my grandparents' place at the shore. We couldn't, my parents actually tried, but we couldn't find anywhere that had a cable box that we could get, because they didn't have a cable box down at the shore. We just had the TV. Yeah. So I ended up watching that, just sitting on the floor, watching it on static. Years later, I was telling that story to my wife. We went to visit my grandparents with, at the time it was just my daughter. We went to visit my grandparents and I'm telling her about it. And I decided to bring up the network on my phone and I played that pay-per-view sitting on the floor with my daughter. I played it for a minute, but just to really let it sink in. Cause my grandparents still had the same TV sitting there, and just, I was like, man, look how times have changed that I can sit here on my phone and bring up this pay-per-view.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so that never bothered me with the static, never like when
Mrs. Meanie used to do the same thing with the listen to static, and she would write down the results and stuff in her notebook and stuff like that and compare contrast to it's something like she looks back on fondly. You look back on fondly. Those are special days, when
And now we sit there.
Now we can just watch it on our phone.
We sit there and watch the WWE Network, and when there's a little bit of an issue and it drops down to standard definition and not HD, and you're just cursing at your TV and you're freaking out. Like, how am I supposed to watch standard definition like some sort of an animal? Like
Mrs. Meanie says, like some kind of pauper.
So
I'm gonna.
Yeah, just sitting there, so it's amazing how times change. But I'll tell you, since the question was to both of us, which I appreciate, because people normally don't care what I have to say.
Shut up. You shut the fuck up.
That's what I'm told mostly, right there. You shut the fuck up.
That defeat the purpose.
I go, here's my opinion, and they go, please shut the. But no, that's it. That's just my wife.
On the next episode of Shut the Fuck Up with Josh Shernoff.
So
I'm sorry I stepped all over your words.
Please. I've got 3 broken toes right now from you just stepping all over my toes. No, so the
like I broke Sandman's ribs.
all knees meanie this episode. Last episode was all something else.
Yeah.
But no, for me, I remember 2 tapes that I was like, so it was always, I think I was always into any of the shoot interviews when they were early on. And I remember there was the Shawn Michaels shoot interview. It was right after he retired and the first time. And was like, oh man, we're going to get like the real behind the scenes. And he's just like talking about how he had nothing to do with the Montreal screw job. So then years later, you're like,
Right.
all right, well, that, now how can I trust anything he said? I remember the whole time in the shoot interview, it came in 2 VHSs.
Right.
And I just remember he was just spitting in a cup the whole time because he was just, had some chew in there, and he was just
Yeah.
spitting in the cup, or not a cup. It was like in a water bottle the whole time. He was like,
Yeah, probably.
good times. But no, the other one was Mass Transit, that video.
Yeah.
And I forget which one it was, but I remember my buddy Brody, he got it was one of the death matches between Foley and Terry Funk. Cactus Jack and Terry Funk. And at that point, like, I'd never seen that. And I was in high school, and, you're hearing all these things, and it must've been around the time that they were doing like that sit down interview with Jim Ross and Mick Foley on Raw. And they're like, so that was like, we're like, okay, we got to get our hands on this. We found that, but otherwise I didn't really have too many. I was such like a like you would say, like a homer. I was a WWF guy.
Yeah.
So for me, like
Yeah.
a lot of times it wasn't until I got a little older, and I started wanting to be in the business and wanting to kind of learn as much as I could about all these different styles. That's when I really started looking. And by that point, I had the internet, I could start looking up more stuff, but yeah, it was, yeah. So that was,
Useless knowledge on that Mick Foley Funk Bob Wire match where the exploding ring. I was Mick Foley's first match after that tournament. I was wrestling for Norm Collins out in Pittsburgh, and it was me and Rick Matrix, who I could do a whole show about him. But me and Rick Matrix against Cactus Jack and a local wrestler named Ray the Crippler Roberts, who we all trained. Me, Rick, and Ray all trained with Al Snow. All were charismatic, stuff like that. But Ray was like, he just got over like a motherfucker. Like he, I don't know what it was, man. He was this guy, long brown hair, pulled back into ponytail. He had the singlet, and he would wear like a hooded hooded sweaty underneath it, which now you'd be like, what's he doing? But wherever he's at, everything he did just clicked. And like he was over in Michigan, he was over in Ohio, Pittsburgh, and all this stuff. And we did this lead up to a match in his hometown of Erie, Pennsylvania. I want to say it's in that area, Newcastle, Pennsylvania, because I confused it with Newcastle, Delaware at the time. And then the first match back was us against Ray Roberts and Cactus. And Cactus, his arm was like covered in the gauze, and before our match, he had to change his gauze. I'm just looking at him; he's on like his third layer of skin, and it's just like it was just as bad as you can imagine seeing it in person as you did on VHS. So you just saying that you watched, that was one of the earlier matches you saw. Just click that memory that, oh yeah, it was like SummerSlam weekend when SummerSlam was in Pittsburgh, because the next day we all had tickets to SummerSlam. I went and sat in the nosebleeds and watched SummerSlam in Pittsburgh.
Which SummerSlam was that?
And then I drove home. That was, I think, the other Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels ladder match. It might have been.
Oh, so that was like a night.
Or no, it was. I'm sorry, no, maybe it was. Oh my God. No. I think Bret Hart wrestled Isaac Yankem that show.
So 95. Yeah, it was Shawn and Razor. It was their second ladder match.
Yeah. Yep. Yes.
Okay.
My apologies.
No,
thanks for fact checking.
It's the new T-shirt told me I had to.
Yes.
I've got a. I'm sorry. No, keep.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to go on to another question.
But I think he talked about wrestling and music. Another. This is a very short one, but as far as like rock and roll Holy Grail tape trading, there was a show Van Halen did for the US Festival in '83, which at the time they had made it into the Guinness Book of World Records for the largest payday for one concert, which was like $1 million. Which I later read Eddie said they spent most of it on that show for their production. So I was like, man, You always read about it, like just like the after magazines. I was reading Metal Edge and Circus Magazine and all these rock mags. You would see photos, and you had the theater of the mind of what the show was. And I got the show, and it was awesome. But like, there's generational loss, and for whatever reasons, during like the last song, it cuts out, and it goes to a different feed, which I guess apparently they had shown it on Showtime at the time as well, back in the '80s. So like the show was a little disjointed, but like, and there's generational loss, which now they found like the master copy. It looks awesome now, and it's on YouTube. But back in the '90s, I'm like a kid spending like $30 on a VHS of just one show, and when I got it, I was like, it was the greatest thing in the world to me because I had all this build up and anticipation and what I was about to watch and stuff like that. But like, I was always tape trading bootleg concerts and pro wrestling.
Next question here. We're going to maybe do a couple more because this one's kind of a short one, but I thought it was funny. Smokey Jones at gingerbread with a 3 instead of a E and a. So anyway, Smokey Jones asks, hashtag Ask Meanie, have you ever played Fire Pro Wrestling World? And would Meanie and Josh run a fire promoter, which is GM mode, and do commentary for the matches?
I have pretty much played every incarnation of Fire Pro Wrestling or Super Fire Pro Wrestling, except for like when it was on Dreamcast. I don't know what I might have taken a hiatus on that one, but literally all the way from like the first time I played Wrestle Pro was in Al Snow's gym, and one of the students, Lance Gunn, his real name's Tim. I was like, "Look at this game I found!" Like I brought up my Super Nintendo or whichever fucking Nintendo was out at that time, and he brought it, and I was like, we're like amazed that this game had all these Japanese wrestlers. It had Muda, it had Vader, and we're marking out as Super Delphine and stuff like that. And we're like marking out,
but not just that, because they had so many guys that were made to look like American wrestlers.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? When I got to WWE, and last couple weeks ago, we are talking about me being in WrestleMania 2000 and stuff like that. And the guy told me I was going to be in WrestleMania 2000. I was like, just out of curiosity, I was like, "Hey man, did you guys ever hear that game, Fire Pro Wrestling?" He's like, yes. And I was like, how did they get away with it? He's like, and he was telling me like, we tried to do something about it, and there's like this iron curtain.
Yeah, it's just different
with trying to do somebody in Japan or whatever. So they got away with it just because legally there's like this, for anybody who ever went, how come WWE never sues Fire Pro? What he said, there was like this like weird steel curtain of where you really couldn't touch them, and they really weren't calling the wrestlers by the real names and infringing. They were just
it's absolutely stealing their likenesses, but no, there's nothing to do about it.
But like back in the day, you would go to the mall and there would like be that booth with the designer imposter's perfume. It smells like Noir, stuff like that. So that's the only thing I could equate it to.
So
stuff like that.
As far as would you and I run a GM mode on that and do commentary for the matches?
That's a lot of work.
That's a Patreon type thing.
Yeah.
If we ever decided to do a Patreon one day, I feel like that's the type of stuff that I could see us putting out.
We could do some Mystery Science Theater 2000.
Yeah, some fun stuff like that.
But he's asking about Fire Pro. A lot of closet Fire Pro fans. Myself, I'm a Super Fire Pro fan. JT Smith was a Super Fire Pro fan. Steve Richards and Gabe Sapolsky. Yeah. We used to always get together and play Super Fire Pro. Sometimes we play each other, or sometimes we, like you said, book a match. And we would be selling because the way they did the game is so smart, where you can't hit a finisher right away. You got to build it up, wear your opponent down, then eventually hit the finisher. And it's like an All Japan match where you hit the finish once, 1, 2, kick out. Oh my God, and you hit the guy with it like 8 more times before you finally get the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Super Fire Pro's an underrated game. It's one of those games that like a lot of people talk about, but a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah, it was. I don't remember which which ones I had played, but I know I played 2 different generations of it. But
Yeah.
oh, I always loved it, and it was
I,
cool.
I, I had Superfire Pro. I had Superfire Pro X, and then they came out with Superfire Pro X Premium or whatever it was. I got every incarnation up until like Dreamcast because I think I bought. I was like so happy with Super
Yeah.
Nintendo that like when they come out with a new system, I'm like another system. Yeah, it's like So I held out until PlayStation or something like that.
So let us know if that's something you'd be interested in paying for, and then Meanie and I will take the time.
That's a lot of dedication.
Hey, here's another question. I'm gonna see. We have 2 more. I'll see if we can get through these kind of quickly because one's really fun and another one. Really, what this is I just want to know the answers to them. So, I know we usually do 2, but we don't have like a rule like it has to be 2. Yeah.
Yeah. When this episode of Pop Yourself
with
Josh Shernoff.
So RJ from at Ringside Rant _RJ. I've been on his show before, Ringside Rant. RJ's a great guy. He asks, what would Meanie and Josh's tag team name be and why? Now, I did not give this any thought, so I have no idea.
That's a great question.
The Beauty? I don't know. Are we?
So says Meanie. The Blue Joshy. Meanie. Sure Meanie.
You're coming up
with ideas here.
These are gold.
Well, I'm the parody guy, so like I'm like the Weird Al wrestling. My whole life, I've always thought of like Weird Al had such an influence on my life to where I'm always thinking of the parody. That bled over into wrestling. Spoiler alert. But
I think so. So says Meanie was a good one. You said that could work. Well, we need to know. Well, why don't you, hey RJ and everybody else who's listening, all of our pod squad, why don't you tell us what our tag team name is, and maybe that tag team will get some merch. Who knows? It could happen.
Sounds
I think that's pretty good.
Sounds like an idea in here in the apocalypse.
So that's what we're looking for. By the way, speaking of merch and Pod Squad, you can pick up your Pod Squad shirt at mindofthemeanie.com. So
seamless.
Perfect. The last question we're going to do here, this one comes to us from Jeff Meneglia. I have no idea how to say that. But I can promise you that wasn't it. But at the Jam and Jeff asks, #AskMeanie, what in the blue hell was the Blonde Bitch Project supposed to be / lead to?
That's a deep dive. The Blonde Bitch Project was basically a parody of the Blonde Witch.
The Blair Witch.
The Blair.
I got you, Meanie. It's what I'm here for. I'm looking over your shoulder, but only because I got your back.
Yes. And nothing else. But the Blonde Bitch Project was a parody of the Blair Witch Project, which was like the hottest movie at the time. Like the Blair Witch Project was so over that people thought they were watching an actual documentary.
Yeah, John Stossel was furious when he found out that the Blair Witch.
John Stossel called bullshit on the Blair Witch Project. Fuck John Stossel. But we were, I don't know if we were at TV or I was home. I got a call from either Vince Russo or Ed Ferrara, and Blair Witch was the hottest thing. They said, hey, come up to Connecticut, and we're going to do a parody of Blair Witch Project. We're going to call it the Blonde Bitch Project. And basically, it's me and Stevie, we reenact like pretty much all of Blair Witch Project, but in the end, instead of looking for the Blair Witch, we're looking for Sable. So, the video's out there. It exists.
So was it supposed to go longer? Like, did it, like...
It was going to be a multi-part segment on the first ever SmackDown.
Okay.
So we filmed it up at Connecticut, at Ferrara's house in Connecticut. And then at the very first SmackDown in Kansas City, it aired live to the audience. and like it was like in it's like a 4 or 5 part segment, and it got a good reaction to the live audience, and the boys in the back, popped for it because everybody had seen the movie Blair Witch. I think the only person who didn't get it was Jerry Lawler. He's like, oh well, that stuck. Well, whatever. But and then we did the first ever SmackDown. Then USA Today does an article in USA Today because USA Today. They wouldn't do an article in the New York Times, so I don't even know why I said that. But USA Today did an article on the Blair Witch craze and all this because everybody started doing the parody of the Blair Witch Project. And they mentioned WWE was doing a parody spinoff of the Blair Witch Project called the Blonde Bitch Project, which is going to air this Thursday on SmackDown in the USA Today, which is amazing press. Well, that article got back to, and this is Vince Russo and Ed Ferrara both confirming to me that the article made its way to Vince. And Vince had not seen the Blair Witch Project and did not know what the Blair Witch Project was. So because he hadn't seen the movie and didn't get it, they cut the whole segment from the first ever SmackDown, which where it was filmed, it aired on the first ever SmackDown to the live audience and to the boys in the back watching on the monitor. It was set to air on
UPN,
back then. And Vince saw the USA Today article of how the WWE was doing a parody. He didn't get the movie, didn't watch the movie, didn't understand the movie, and nixed it.
So where did it end up airing? I know I've seen it. I've seen some of it at least.
The opening segment aired.
So just the whole thing got kind of cut?
The whole thing, the first part aired. And it's me and Stevie at quote unquote Stevie's house. It's really Ed Ferrara's house. I'm playing the video game, and Stevie's videotaping me. And I said, you're just mad because I kicked your ass at in your house video game or something on Acclaim, and it goes to me going, but we were talking about, I forget. I'll rewatch it, but it goes to me going, Stevie, did you ever hear the legend of the blonde bitch? And that's when we fade off and it's supposed to air. I don't know, maybe I know it fucking aired in Kansas City, but I don't know if they aired one segment on the first SmackDown and then they were going to, it aired. I'm blanking on where,
right.
The whole thing never aired. It exists because I know it's there in the archives. If they ever bring back like hidden gems, whatever that, they could throw that up as a hidden gem. But it never aired because Vince didn't see the original movie, and he didn't understand it. So
fun fact about the Blair Witch Project. So the actress who is best known for having a camera up her nose while she's so scared.
We reenacted that one.
That was the most famous part of it, I feel like.
That's like the box cover shot.
Yeah. So she years later. So I was a stand-in.
She did an expose to say it wasn't real with John Stossel.
Yeah, she did, and then she gigged herself in the middle of it. But it was I was a stand-in and an extra for the exterior Philadelphia scenes for the first season of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I was Charlie Day's extra and ended up actually being an extra for the entire cast. Or no, I'm sorry, stand-in, and ended up being a stand-in for the entire cast that day. Just when they needed me, they just kind of grabbed me, and then those guys pulled me aside. The three guys in there, they pulled me aside. They're like, hey, do you want to be an extra? Because I was only hired as a stand-in. Stand-in is, for anyone who doesn't know, is so I was there for Charlie because I was similar height and size, and so although I'm definitely taller than him, but so they would have me there so they could set lighting, set the camera, set everything, and then I would get out. So stand-in was out, principal actors would come in, and Charlie would come in. So basically he could run his lines or relax or whatever in between. Now, I didn't know who these guys were, and they're like, "Oh, you would be an extra?" I'm like, "Yeah, that'd be cool." I knew they were acting in it, but I didn't know they were the creators of it. I'd never seen them before. This was the first season that was being shot. So they put me in there as an extra, and you can see me. There are definitely some parts where in the Charlie got molested episode where Dennis and Dee are outside, like watching Charlie outside going into the house. And they're like by like a fruit stand, and I go walking behind them at one point. But like the Charlie in that episode when he's going down the hallway, to his like uncle is there in the family room. He's going down that hallway, and the way they set up all the lighting, like I had to do that walk a bunch of times down the hallway to set the lighting. But in the first episode, the pilot episode of that show, where they think that, I think it was Charlie, they think Charlie's girlfriend's pregnant. The girlfriend was that girl from the Blair Witch Project, played the girlfriend. So,
Awesome.
And that was kind of all that was going around set, was just like, oh, do you know who she was? Like, she was the biggest celebrity, which is so ironic how everything worked out. But she was the one that everyone was like, oh man, we want to meet her. We want to meet her. Cause that's from the, so yeah, it was just a little fun fact to put myself over. But yeah, good times.
Well, those guys film all
they
over.
are huge wrestling fans too. At least I know, like least some of them are big wrestling fans.
I haven't met anybody from the show, but they've always filmed in our neighborhood, and like there's areas where like the Christmas special, there's somebody's house they go to. It's like right down the street from my house. So every time I walk across that intersection, I look down the street. I was like, oh yeah, that's the house where Charlie goes. I forget what the house is, but I think it was on the Christmas special. They go to somebody's
Well, I remember
house
like the O'Doyle's. Filmed. Well, no, that's the. Wait, am I saying the wrong? That's Billy Madison. Billy Madison. This was like the ones they're like inbred. But I remember again, like because I only the only script I had, which I still have somewhere. I have the sides. It's probably worth a lot from like the first time of shooting. It's all the sides, like the little. So it was only the scenes that I was in. But there was like the one scene where one of those guys where he like opens the door in his bathrobe, and like I didn't know what was the show was about. I didn't know what was going on. Right. And I like show up to where that was being filmed, and there's this dude, like they have him made up to look like just revolting, and he's but it was I will say, like, I only met those guys that one time, or it was 2 days of shooting, but they hadn't become famous yet. They hadn't had anything. So I would love to believe that all these years later that they're still as cool as they were then, because they were super cool that day. So I'd like to believe that fame and fortune hasn't changed them, but man, they've been really successful with that show.
Mac from Always Sunny went and opened up a bar here in Philly on Market Street called Mac's Tavern or something like that. And like if they're in town, they're always awesome in there. I guess it was one of the summers they were filming here. My buddy Paul went there. He wound up running into the entire cast. They're just hanging out, socializing, great. Just like showing. He had drinks and got photos with him and stuff like that. And I was
they really liked me, and the next season came along, and I got contacted that they wanted me back as a stand-in again for Charlie. And I had finals. I was in college, and I had finals, and I was like, I can't make it. I have finals, and man, I should have just retaken the course, and because I probably would have failed that final anyway. So, I should have.
And here you are, all these years later, on Mine and DeMeanie.
It was.
If I had only gone to second season,
but no, because
Meanie would just be sitting at home staring at
what I did.
Oh man, I'd do a podcast.
No, we'd still be doing the podcast, but we'd have the guys from Always Sunny calling in to.
That would be a.
But the thing with the second season was because so many people have asked me anytime I've like brought that up, and trust me, I bring that up as frequently as I can. But every time that I bring that up, people be like, "Oh, did you meet Danny DeVito?" Danny DeVito didn't start until the second season. I had no idea that he was going to be on the show, but I would have gotten to meet and work alongside. Wasn't going to be running lines with him, but I would have gotten to work alongside Danny DeVito, which would have just been super cool. 'Cause I have
And you could
taxi days and stuff, you know.
you could have like your 6 degrees of separation with
Yeah, I've
Kevin
got.
Bacon.
Oh, I definitely that I have at this point. I have to have that because he's worked with
Yeah.
everyone. Because I did stuff with this guy Jesse Heyman, who is the I was actually had acting classes with him, and then he ended up doing. He was a guest on one on a web series that I had done, and he is known as like the world's most famous extra. You've definitely seen him before. He was.
There's a documentary called "That Guy from That Thing." He's
Yeah, I don't
probably
know,
in
but
that.
he's
You know, it's about those people that you
he
recognize.
is the guy who. Do you remember the GoDaddy commercial with the nerd that made out with the supermodel during the Super Bowl? That was him.
Yeah,
He was
yeah,
the
yeah,
nerd.
yeah,
He was
yeah,
on
yeah.
Chuck, on the TV show Chuck. He worked at the Buy More. He's been in everything. And he's just I don't like he still gets cast to be like a teenager, and I think he's like 40 at this point, but like he looks exactly the same. But so he is the fact that I've worked with him, I know that I've got my 6 degrees of like I've got like 1 degree of separation to everyone because he has been in everything. So
I used to be like a Google search engine tool. Like you put your name in and put
yeah,
the tag "Bacon Game" in, it would
I'll have
tell
to
you.
check that out.
But I think I'm 1 degree. I was in The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke. Mickey Rourke was in Diner
There
with
you
Kevin
go.
Bacon. So
Now, does this count?
I used to have it. I used to before that. I used to have the angle through Terry Funk, but I forgot that on the
So
edge.
if you go to IMDb, you and I are on there for both On the Ropes, which if you haven't gone to On the Ropes, check out On the Ropes with Josh Shernoff, Fight TV. First episode with the Blue Meanie was praised by all. And episode 2 with Alicia Atut is actually going to be, by the time you hear this, has also aired. And episode 3 will air sometime in 2021 when I'm able to go back to interviewing people. But yeah, we're on that. And then so says Shernoff. We're on IMDb because you were a guest on that show. So there you go. So that's at least my degree of separation to Mickey Rourke and then to Kevin Bacon. So man,
Well, there you
I'm
go.
happy with that. And I don't know that we can that sounded like a go home spot to me. Like that was, you can't beat that.
Nah,
That was the
nah,
worst,
nah, nah. The
the
Bacon
worst,
Game
most
was.
boring part of the entire show. Me talking about my IMDb. Yeah, Meanie, anything else that you'd like to share with anybody? This has been a super fun episode of debauchery and craziness. And
Yeah, and we started off, slipping all over a thing of marbles, and then we finally found our footing. It's is this episode 6 already?
episode 6, man.
Thanks to everybody who has been giving me feedback, whether privately or online. All feedback is welcome. All feedback is appreciated. And if there's any ideas, any topics, we love doing the Ask Meanie Anything stuff like that. So we're trying to keep it interactive, even though we're not like a traditional show where we take calls or have guests, and eventually we might have a guest or two. But I'm digging the format as it is right now because initially, we're supposed to go into a studio, but me,
Yeah,
this
we're
is
just
perfect.
hanging out in our homes and just, technology at its finest, man.
Yeah, I just noticed we both have Al Snow pop figures behind us. I got one right here, and you got one right behind you.
Al Snow pop
I can't
figures?
Yeah, what is that?
No,
Al
it's
Snow
not Al.
behind
Wait,
you?
you have Al behind you? I thought that was because is it Grumpy?
No, it's Al Snow. Let's see.
Hold it back. Dude, can I be honest with you? I've always thought that was. Now I see that. I always thought that was Grumpy from the Seven Dwarfs because it's back on your bookshelf, so I couldn't see it.
Yeah, Mrs. Meanie tied him up.
Okay, so that's what's.
Actually, it was my elf on the shelf, Jingleberry.
Or Elf on the Shelf tied it up.
Elves, yeah. No, what I've got. Hold on. Oh God, I can't reach. I'm gonna fall over. I've got Jericho. Somebody got me as a gift.
Why did I think that was Al?
So actually, you know what? It looks like he's got something. The thing sitting in front of him is actually. I'll show you. So here's what. Yep, I just hurt myself. So yeah, so my friend Biz got this for me. I guess he just saw it somewhere and was like, oh, Josh will like that. This is during like the List of Jericho time. But the
Very
thing that was
cool.
sitting in front,
I thought that was the head.
This is actually the reason I have it sitting here. One of the times I was working at AEW, and it was, I want to say maybe it was maybe it was the one in Philly. And they did the Inner Circle did a celebration with a little bit of the bubbly, and Jericho popped the cork, and it landed right at my feet. And Calvin Tan, who does the camera work, Calvin and I are like looking at it, and he's just like pointing to it. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to not take this. Like, I wouldn't have gone, like there are some things you just won't do, but it's just sitting there at my feet. No one noticed that it landed there. So I got it. So I have it sitting next to the Jericho. Just a little cork. Fun fact.
Awesome.
Yeah. Got some fun things here.
Fun fact, I still have the Pierre flyer that Al Snow put up on Sunday Night Heat that had Val Venus's legit phone number on it. Yeah, for Pepper, when Pepper was missing, he did the missing photo, and they took a Polaroid, and he legit wrote Val Venus's phone number. Goes, if you have seen his dog, and then Val Venus's phone started blowing up, and the best line from that whole thing is like, because he did it on Sunday Night Heat, and then he did it again the next night in Raw. He's like, yeah, Raw's got the better ratings. His phone rang a little bit during Sunday Night Heat, but during Raw, his phone just blew the hell up. So
hey,
that is.
So speaking of the ratings and stuff, we've got 39 5-star ratings right now on awesome. iTunes, or I don't even think it's called iTunes anymore. It's like Apple Podcasts. I still call it iTunes.
Yeah.
What do you say? We don't know what it is, so we're not held to anything. But if we can get to 50 by the next show, maybe we'll do something fun. I don't know what it's going to be. Could be a giveaway. Could be a reading of poetry. I have no idea what it'll be, but what do you say?
I'm sure we'll text each other back.
Yeah, we'll come up with that. If we can get to 50, and maybe that can be a thing. Every 50, we can do something kind of fun. And then when we get to 1,000, we'll do commentary on a Fire Pro Wrestling.
And the guy was like, "We're not mocking."
Oh, dude, not at all. It's a lot. It's a lot of work. Yeah, we're not mocking you. We're just really lazy and don't want to.
I couldn't even hook up the internet to do this fucking podcast today, and you want me to do live play-by-play on the Fire Pro? But
for a price, when the world resumes, we'll come to your house and we'll do commentary over your shoulder while you play. So yeah,
there you go.
Well,
everybody's got a price. No, that's I just blew out everybody's speakers.
There you go. All right. Well, that seems like a good a time as any to wrap it up here.
Yeah, we were so good, and I shit the bed on my head.
No, it was fantastic. Hey, what's a good impression that you have of somebody?
Oh, I don't know.
I got a good impression.
All right. Mrs. Meanie got one.
Mrs. Meanie's going to bring us home with a good impression.
Okay, this is my Jesse Ventura. Ready? Isn't that right, Gorilla?
Oh man, she's so fucking good. I love her to death.
That was awesome. And that about does it for us here.
She just does that to pop herself, basically. Yeah. You tell me.
Make sure.
Oh, dude, we've been trying to go to fuck home for the last 20 minutes, but I know we have to go to the store. We have to get our rations for the
Manswander's waiting for you at Aldi.
Shout out, dude, seriously, because I don't know if we're going to talk impressions again. Shout out to Dan Soder, comedian, great stand-up comedian. He's on the show.
Did you say we're not going to talk in person again? What are you?
Did I say
how
that?
dangerous is this trip that you're taking to the grocery store? Is what I want to know.
Landmines, I don't know if we're going to talk about impersonations again.
That's what you said. Okay, that's my bad.
Shout out to Dan Soder, excellent stand-up comedian. They just put up a special on Comedy Central. He's on the show Billions, which I've been meaning to watch because I'm a big Paul Giamatti fan. He does an amazing Randy Macho Man Savage. And when I met Dan Soder at StarCast in Vegas, also shout out to Mike Lawrence, another great stand-up comedian. Dan Soder almost murdered me and Mike Lawrence with his impersonation of Andre the Giant because it was so spot on. Me and Mike Lawrence laughed till we were purple. We were laughing until. Did you ever laugh so hard that like no sound comes out?
I'm pretty sure when you were describing your balls last week.
Yes, he did an impersonation of Andre the Giant as a 9/11 truther. He goes. I won't even.
Maybe we
dude,
can
I
get
won't
him on
even,
the show at some point to do that.
Dude, I'm friends with Dan on the social media. Maybe I'll reach out. Maybe I'll have him send me a clip. Please, I'll get him to do it on his own podcast called The Campfire. Dude, go on social, go on YouTube anyway. Look up Dan Soder, Randy Savage, Dan Soder, Andre the Giant. But I gotta get him to do the Andre the Giant as a 9/11 truther, and dude, wow. It's amazing. I can't do it justice, so I'll just shut up and we'll take it home right there.
All right. Make sure to follow us on social media at Mind of the Meanie. And while you're at it, give us a follow as individuals, if you would. Meanie can be found on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Blue Meanie BWO. I'm at So Says Shernoff on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Don't forget to visit mindofthemeanie.com for all of our great shirts. We have 2 new ones. Who knows what on earth is coming out of this show? And of course, Pro Wrestling Tees/Blue Meanie, collarandelbowbrand.com, promo code Meanie. And hey, So Says Shernoff.com. Give that a shot as well. For the Blue Meanie, I am Josh Shernoff. This has been a blast. Join us again next Monday for another trip into the mind of the Meanie. Oh, the smell.
Blue World Order.